Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome back to another night here at the Rose Cup here on Twitch. Hopefully, you got yourself a nice little drink, some snacks, if you will, because we're hopefully in for a good game tonight. Here, we do have a lovely, lovely match in the Platinum quarterfinals between the Tokyo Teto Foxes and Juice Goblinos. I'm going to be your play-by-play for the evening, Megalad, and I'm joined on the color roll by Heathen. And Heathen, what is going on right now?
So, as you broke it down a moment ago, they played in the same conference, or they placed a little far apart. They played in the same conference together, though. Tokyo Teto Fox is holding number 1 in the conference. Juice Goblin is holding number 5. But the only time that these two teams played against each other was back in the first week. And that's probably I'm gonna use my understanding of what's happened with these teams to say that during the first few weeks, Juice Goblinos were at a pretty big disadvantage because, of course, this team has scrimmed a very impressive total of 0 hours. So they needed some time to get ready for each other. So they might have a comeback. This might be their chance to avenge the fact that they lost in week 1. But if we've seen anything so far, Tokyo Teto Foxes have looked absolutely amazing throughout their season so far. They're in the playoffs. We're at the quarterfinals, and they're looking really strong right now. And they are definitely the favorite to win this match.
I mean, yes, obviously, if you're going to be a team that's not scrimming at all with the PTR patch that recently went live, you're not going to be at the most healthy of advantages. But, at the same time, meta really doesn't matter when you get to the lower elos. And so Platinum really just kind of mechanical skill can carry you.
And meta might not matter at all right at this second because it's kind of poorly defined. There's a lot of teams at the upper end who are running like the Rhino Rissa comps. They've messed around with some Lucio Brigida. They're kind of landing into the Mei Hanzo double shield compositions, but it's also experimental at the top that it's got to be experimental further down. So basically anything can run right now here today.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, it also comes down to if those shield tanks are even in play, because obviously still patch before this you're running those double barriers, but maybe you're opting into that Rein Zarya, as we are actually going to be heading to Li Zhang first, and obviously depending on the point we see, there's a few different options. Pharah, very common pick here, but we're actually heading to the control center first.
Yeah, control center, exactly the map they'd be running that Rein Zarya on. Rhinoris is also a conf, but Mei is absolutely oppressive on this map here because of the opportunity to wall off your enemy, the ease of access to just walking on top of an enemy that's been walled off usually leaves you up 1 in a fight, and a good Mei can definitely carry here, and I'm going to be I'm probably going to be watching the Mei player, whoever it's going to be, because there's a lot of potential there.
Yes, indeed, and obviously that is assuming the Mei rolls out, which it probably will. It's just, regardless of meta, you've seen it dominate here time and again. It used to be known as cheese on this point back before Mei was really a meta pick or anything like that, but now we've seen it evolve into just how you play the game.
We're seeing some counters here. There's the Rein versus Sigma and the McCree versus Reaper are the only differences in this comp. And McCree has the ability to catch the Reaper on an aggressive dive. Sigma has a similar potential, but Reinhardt has the ability to move in with his Reaper, of course, a lot faster and make this the far more aggressive lineup between the two. And of course, Lamy on the Anno rolling out, actually. They don't have the speed boost to capitalize on a lot of plays here. I'm curious about how they're going to make this work out.
Yes, indeed. As we start this off, Black Market able to speed his team up to the high ground. Meanwhile, both teams kind of just taking position. That wall coming in from Divine first, but that lovely biotic nade keeping everybody up. And we're kind of just in a poke phase right now. As I say that, though, Karev is able to find Black Market. The Lucio is down. All that's left is your Baptiste. It's a lot of healing, but you're kind of stuck now. That speed boost is gone. Accretion comes in, doesn't really get a follow-up kill or anything like that. As the wall comes in now from Clam, but there doesn't seem to be any follow-up. These teams too hesitant to fight each other, and Lucio able to get back in because of that now. Amplification Matrix coming out for Anthemus, both Immortality Fields being traded back and forth. It just seems to be this poke war on the point, somebody waiting for the other to get through, but I think the Sigma has been caught. As I say that, though, Krev is able to find Foster on the Reaper, and now Mei walls are being used yet again, and the anti coming through pretty much onto Saber. The 2 picks there, and make it a third onto Getty. Finally looks like it's going to take the first point for Juice Goblinos.
Yeah, the composition that Tokyo Teto running, simply just being able to sit back, wait for their opponents to push in and capitalize on it effectively. There's nothing really punishing this Ana at the moment, and even when Dime got caught out of position, he had the sustainability to survive even through a Mei wall.
Yes, indeed. So as we are going back in here, it seems like the shields are getting just absolutely obliterated for the side of Tokyo Tetos, and the walls come in yet again. Saber having to try to find value. The pin doesn't get anything, and now we have the Blizzard coming out, but Foster's already down. The Deadeye coming out from Krev. A lot of ultimates being expended here, but it is going to work for a team fight win as the cleanup kills come through. But that was quite a few ultimates expended on a pretty secured fight.
Yeah, but we got Saber's Earth Shatter out of it as well for Tokyo, or for the side of Juice Goblinos. So really, they're gonna have to do this with a whole bunch of damage boosting abilities in Blizzard.
Definitely, but Blizzard's one of those AoE things. The wall kind of just giving them coverage in order to enter right here. But the wall being used, Dimitron uses the flux. Everybody's up in the air, but unfortunately no picks come through. The Blizzard comes through. Black Market is traded out by the Bionade. Both Immortality Fields are down. Foster trying to come up big for the team with the Blizzard following it up and getting the kills necessary. And it looks like around 67% we're going to see the flip over to Tokyo Teto.
And Juice Goblinos taking control of the point there. Oh wait, yeah, Tokyo Teto taking control of the point there. I've been backwards for a while, haven't I? But they have the Supercharger and they have the Death Blossom still, which is an absolutely huge combo, and there's not much to counter this outside of a Sleep Dart and an Immortality Field.
Yes, indeed, and also Black Market's going to be coming up on that beat, so that should help them sustain through any long fights that we see here. But Supercharger's getting dedicated early from Getty, but meanwhile, Anti-Nade comes on to both Saber and Divine. They're able to survive through it. No real follow-up because of the composition. The Blossom comes in from the high ground. Doesn't seem to find anybody, but it forces out Immortality Field. It forces out a lot of abilities, and Saber's able to get the pin and dedicate the Shatter there. Not many are stunned up, though, but Divine does go down. But it seems like it's being traded out, and it's just kind of a back-and-forth war. Both teams trying to play around their Baptiste Amplification Matrix, see if they can get any value, but there's no tanks for the side of Juice Goblino, so they're forced to play so painfully passive, and it looks like the teams are finally regrouping here for possibly another fight.
Yeah, but this time it's going to be Juice Goblinos who are holding the Blizzard, and there's a lot of potential in this ability, especially if they can get Black Market off guard. With Maywell's coming up, Orisa might be one out.
Yes, indeed. But the Blizzard comes out, freezing pretty much almost the entirety of the Teto Foxes. Is there going to be follow-up for it, though? Black Market goes down. Yep, and there's the follow-up. But Foster kills Krev in the Deadeye. That's one pick, and it's just not enough. Unfortunately, the Reaper's not going to be able to do a whole heck of a lot by himself. The team bell gong rings out, and once again flips over to Juice Goblinos.
And it's going to be up to Tokyo Teto to build up that Blizzard one more time, because this seems to be the ultimate that just guarantees wins of the fight. And they're at 82% right now. If Juice Goblinos can shut this down before that happens, they should win the map.
Yes, indeed. And pretty much all they have to work with is going to be this Gravitic Flux. Ethot could get the Amplification Matrix online before the end of it here, but as we see the rotations coming through, Baptiste is caught away from the rest of his team. The Gravitic Flux coming in.
99, 100.
Yes, indeed. We have the Blizzard now coming out for Divine, but Foster is already down to the hands of Krev on that McCree, just getting pick after pick. That looks like the point could flip here, but it looks like a resurgence coming in. Saber goes down, at least 4 on the point. The Amplification Matrix is just not enough here, it seems, as pick after pick come through. Krev on that McCree is just putting on a clinic. Black Market on the Lucio, now just trying to touch it. Now Foster fading in as well, just one by one staggering to the point, but it looks like Juice Goblinos have taken control center and giving themselves 1 point on the board.
Definitely a close game, and I saw Foster towards the end learning to start flanking, getting on the backline, shutting down the McCree during high noon, and if he can do that and punish perhaps the fact that Lame is on Anna, they'd have a much better time winning this map. But that being said, the Juice Goblino strat did seem stronger for what was happening, at least. They brought the tools that they needed and they won the map, and they're swapping over to Bastion Symmetra right now. Of course, it has the easy teleport on a point. The enemy is, however, on Mayhunt already, which is sort of a counter to this composition. But the fact that they're just going to be set up might be too much of a power position for the Tokyo Teto Foxes to break.
Yes, indeed. You can break those barriers all you want. There's still going to be a Bastion with a potential Immortality Field just waiting to spray down anything you go through. Surprised neither team's really opting into like a Pharah potentially here with all the wide open area you see. But as the teleporter comes in for Juice Goblinos, they are set up on the point here. And now it looks like Teto Foxes is going to be on the outside looking in, trying to find a way to get this. But with the Sim teleporters on, or turrets rather, on one door and Bastion at the other, it's not really a place you want to be. But the wall does come out, at least displacing the Bastion for a moment. but the first cap comes in for Juice Goblinos, and it seems to just be a poke war, but Flam does go down, so that means no more Symmetra is going to be there. The turrets are still there, as well as the insane amount of healing between the Ana and the Baptiste. Ethot is going to have Amplification Matrix up and using it immediately so Krev can melt Saber on the other side, and now the Mei wall just kind of forcing the retreat for Teto Foxes.
And Clay made it back to point using the teleporter. He was unpunished in doing so, but dies immediately anyways, so it looks like that isn't going to matter.
Yes, indeed. Fox gets that very crucial first pick, but the rest of his team's not really there to capitalize or do anything right now. They're all just kind of poking again.
Yeah, but they have the amplification matrix to do it this time. And...
Yes, indeed. But Krev, once again, is just getting pick after pick. The Blizzard is on top of the Bastion now, and the Immortality Field goes down. Bastion should finally perish here. Yes, it does, but it cost quite a bit to get it, including Divine's life. And now Foster goes down. There's no DPS left for the side of Tokyo. And the nano boosted Orisa, she's going to live so long. And Clam on the Symmetra, melting everybody. And it's the secured fight, and it continues to tick past 60% for Juice Goblinos.
Clam with the master flank, tactical reset himself by getting picked early just so that he could do that, of course. Going into this next fight, though, they are going to have the Sim Wall, which is a really powerful ultimate if you're comboing with the Bastion, because it's just that much harder to get past these shields and get on a point. And they're going to be pressured to get on the point because we are at 75%. They have Transcendence, however, to try and push through it, and they might be using it aggressively just to hop on this Bastion.
Yes, indeed, and they use Dragon early, but obviously Immortality Field's going to answer that. And then the Sim Wall answers in kind, so that way no damage comes through. Now Krev has the tank ultimate, looking for the one-shots, the kills that could definitely push us. As we're nearing that 99%, Krev is able to take down Divine on the Junkrat now, but traded out. Clam going down first yet again. The Transcendence is forced out, as well as the Supercharger. Pretty much everything has to be dedicated right here for Tokyo. But Diamondtron on the Sigma throws everybody up into the air with a flux, but Foster's actually finding kills through all of this, and he's able to live as well. Orisa on 1 HP, Saber, oh my goodness, is able to live through that for just a little bit, but now Divine is back and Anthem is on the Zenyatta. It feels like the picks are finally there. At the very last moment, we're going to see Tokyo flip this point over, but they already have 99% up for Juice Goblino, so it's one more fight for them.
Yeah, but Tokyo Teto are sitting in a very healthy spot on their ultimate economy. They have 2 ultimates to answer to the enemy's 0 at the moment. But Krev still on the Bastion. Juice Goblinos haven't given up on this strategy quite yet, but we are in a pause now. I'm suspecting that was an auto pause due to a disconnect because I'm not seeing any information about why we're paused at the moment. But the fact that they're still on this Bastion comp with the Sim teleporter, there's the chance that they're teleporting straight on the point, which would be borderline suicidal. If I'm not mistaken, trying to just turtle shell yourself on the point between 2 shields and seeing if you could duke it out from there with your Bastion isn't exactly the recommended retail method on how to play out this composition, so I'm expecting them to more do something whack. No, wait, there's the play where you put the Symmetra teleport on the high ground and you boost your Bastion on the high ground and then you just sit up there with an Orisa shield, with a Sigma shield, not needing to drop and spraying down your enemies from there. That's kind of what I'm expecting for them to try and pull out right now.
Well, I mean, we are still just kind of waiting to see what's going on with this pause, as everybody seems to be ready to up it. And we should be A-okay, but obviously, as you said, it's going to be interesting. If they can't make the Bastion work on this fight, it kind of is okay, because they still have the entirety of 99% to build up to on the other side, so they can switch compositions, change it up.
They're doing
it. And they do teleport, and the Immortality Field is dedicated. Bionade also dedicated extremely early as well, but Divine is able to find Krev stuck on the high ground with no shield as everybody falls off of that tiny little ledge to hang on to. And now we're kind of just witnessing a brawl where the rest of Juice Goblinos is too committed in order to back out. The Symmetra Wall being dedicated, interestingly enough, as Krev is going to roll out on the McCree. It's going to be a few moments before he gets back, but there's no other picks in sight, and Amplification Matrix coming through. Saber going down, as well as the Zenyatta and Hanzo, and it just absolutely murking. Even though they had the pick, they didn't really push their advantage at all, and Juice Goblinos is going to flip it. And unless we have some last minute...
Nope, that's going to be it. No one can make it. That's the end of the map.
I mean, that was a very strange set of events for Tokyo right there. They kind of had the man advantage and just never did anything with it. But Juice Goblinos putting it on and take Lijiang 1-0
This
in
is
the series.
super exciting. Juice Goblinos coming into this underdog, taking the first map in a 2-0 fashion on King of the Hill. Setting up for an actual underdog victory is super exciting right now.
Yes, indeed. But obviously, because we are in a nice little scenario where the loser can pick the next map going forward, it is always time to flip the tides. If you lose the map, it's one map. You're not really worried or anything like that. And I think we are moving into Assault next, unless my memory has failed me. So, what map do you think we're going to see Tokyo try to take Juice Goblinos to based on what we saw on Lijiang?
Um, God, the fact that Juice Goblinos had kind of an unorthodox strat that takes a little bit of thought to work around, and that they weren't just sticking to one composition makes it challenging to choose the next assault map. So I'm imagining the Tokyo Teto Foxes are just going to come in this with a preference on one of their maps from previous experience scrims, of course, and tournament matches. I don't
Mhm.
really think there's information here leaning one direction or the other between Hanamura or Temple of Anubis, I believe.
Yes, indeed. But I mean, you did opt into the Junkrat place, so I feel like Junkrat has always kind of been a staple of Temple of Anubis, regardless of what's been going on. Always seems to do kind of well there. It's a niche pick, I guess you could say, but if you're not really banking on the Junkrat or anything like that, you could still go Hanamura just because that's a map where you feel comfortable on it because everybody feels comfortable on it. And it
Mm,
does seem to be the play that we are going to Hanamura.
yeah. I think between the two maps, Hanamura has more opening for some of these unorthodox strats that we saw, like attack sim teleporter completely over the first point onto the building on the top left, if you know what I'm talking about, has become a really
Mhm.
popularized strat. And it's exactly what I'm expecting out of Juice Goblinos after watching them teleport the Bastion onto the high ground and dedicating Immortality Field to that play.
Well, then obviously you do have the bunker as well that you can run on the defense, which kind of can deal with that composition depending on where the teleporter goes. Because there's one of two options: you can teleport straight to that high ground, and if there's a bunker there, then there's a lot of problems. But you can also just teleport directly to point and just kind of play out of sight lines, force the bunker to move around you. So it's going to be interesting to see what we do actually end up seeing here.
One thing for certain, though, is that if we're going back to lobby, but if I were Tokyo Teto Foxes heading into this map, I would probably set up in a spot that would be that makes it easy for you to rotate to point. I don't think setting up the choke is going to be the play here.
I mean, it depends on what you kind of run, doesn't it? Because this is a phenomenal map for her with the choke points being as narrow as they are. Her wall can get a lot of zoning and a lot of pick potential done, as we were seeing from both teams on the control center point of Lijiang. But also, you do see some teams opt into like if they see a bunker or possibly a Symmetra to run a Pharah just because there's no real counter to it. So it's not just niche strategies; it's kind of just a very wide array of rock paper scissors almost.
Yeah. And of course, in that wide array of strategies, there are a couple niche ones that pop up, was more of the point that I was making. So we have 2 seconds on the clock, though, until we can actually talk about this strange lineup that's coming out. We have a Winston Sigma on the attack right now versus Orisa Diva bunker comp, which
And
I kind of like. I'm going to say I like that. I think it deals with the Pharah pretty well.
it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, Diva's pretty much there for the Pharah is almost kind of a prediction of sorts. As much as I think I'd love to see Winston Sigma and what that could do, it's probably just one of those things where we're in the attacker spawn. We don't have
Yeah.
to do anything until the 0.1 seconds before the door opens. But
Is the Junkrat a weird pick, though? Because if
I
you're
mean,
sitting up on the high ground and you already have the firepower of the Bastion, it doesn't cover any of your weaknesses if
it just
I
gives you
might
more
be
shield
crazy.
break. It just gives
Yeah.
you kind of more shield break in that scenario, I guess.
J-Dash, okay. They're on double shield. They're on Symmetra. They're getting ready to teleport over to point.
Yes, indeed, and it's going to be a bunker as well once the TP comes through. And they teleport straight to point, and Diva really doesn't have a rotation for this as she was on the high ground. But Divine is able to find J-Dash in the middle of that, and Foster, being the superior Bastion in the case, taking down not only his opposite, but both tanks as well. They knew it was coming in. They saw the teleporter, and instead of trying to rotate in front of the team and being stuck in a very odd angle, they were able to rotate back, get to the point in time. But now we have Getty out of the mech, kind of just a baby diva, which could prove disastrous moving forward unless they can get that mech back before there's a full engage for the Goblinos.
Yeah, I think Goblinos are kind of capitalizing, or I mean, planning on that diva being in mech, but Divine at 90% towards Tire. It makes it very difficult to push into a team if you know that Tire is also something you have to look for, but they are going to rotate around with the teleports this time around, take the high ground, set themselves up on the point opposite of Foster on his Bastion, and make sure that they just have some cover to play around.
Yes, indeed, and it's interesting because the baby diva is shooting up here, but they're still just kind of waiting for teleporter cooldowns because even though they've been scouted, they just kind of had to wait to get the clean engage, and we see the immortality field come down as well as the Bastion setup. We have dueling Bastions on the each side of the point. Meanwhile, Diamondtron on the Sigma is the one touching, forcing his death. Same with the Diva on the other side. Tire coming out, as you said, it could be massive, but it is destroyed by Krev. So no value coming out of that one. Diva once again gonna be demeched here, and nobody can really rotate around this point because the Symmetric turrets and Divine goes down, and Krev is finally finding value on that Bastion. The shields wore out for the defense here, and it's going to be a point A cap, giving them about 5 minutes on the time bank to attack point B.
And we're seeing some swaps come out from the defense. We got Getty swapping over to the Reinhardt now. I don't recall him using the Signal, so I believe that they gave up quite a bit of percentage on that. And Foster is now on the Hanzo, so they swapped away from the Bastion comp entirely. But Juice Goblinos, they're teleporting around the map. They're coming up for Bastion comp right now as we speak. I think they're going to wait. Nope, they're just going for it.
Yes, indeed. It seems like they're going to rotate 2 point, but they have been scouted by the Sonic Arrow, so it's maybe not the safest thing for them to pull. As Divine,
Are they waiting for Telly?
I
No.
don't know where you'd want to Telly at that point, but the bunker is set way further back. The Sigma is going to get the nano boost here, and ultimates are being dedicated left and right. J-Dash sets up the wall, and Getty goes down to the Symmetra, just being able to melt the supercharger, now dedicated in front of the shield, interesting enough. But Krev dedicating the tank mode. The Tire coming out yet again is able to find J-Dash, but is that one pick enough? As Krev snipes the Mercy out of the sky and then proceeds to take Divine down with him. And it looks like it could be a very quick cap as the Tracer finally touches the very last second, but they're forced onto the point one after another. That Bastion's just going to melt. Nobody can really reach him as the Doomfist comes in, melted once more, and it looks like it's just a matter of stall here. 3:42 on the time bank for Juice Goblinos as they take point B.
God, want to give it to J-Dash. The Symmetra wall separating off a DPS and a tank away from the rest of the team, making this very quickly a 4-2 fight was just so well played, and they managed to hold on to it so well. And then Krev got those 2 beautiful shots on the Bastion. That was really well done. They have 3 minutes, 42 seconds on the clock. It's going to be challenging for Tokyo Teto Fluxes to come back against that strategy, especially since I'm expecting Juice Goblinos to run another unorthodox strat, and I don't know if Tokyo Teto are going to be able to find the way around it.
I mean, if we continue to have the J-Dash Symmetra one trick that we have been seeing so far on Hanamura, it could prove a problem as there's not really a counter pick to that in this meta. Sure, you could pick Winston to try to deal with turrets or deal with Symmetra herself, and while it counters that, the rest of the team will shred you. Winston's just not one of those very optimal picks, would be the nicest way to put it.
It's going to be the May Bastion comp. So they got the wall, and they're going against Dive, however.
Yes, indeed. But what's been interesting tonight has just been Lammy on the Ana has been providing a lot of extra healing for this team, as well as the antis, which is something that not a lot of teams have had to deal with recently.
Yeah, he's been playing that really well. I was kind of hesitant about it when we opened up on the first map because it's just not orthodox, but they've definitely been making it look good, and just the amount of healing that he can pour into his team has just been far more than what Black Market has been capable of providing in these fights. But we're coming out on Dive. I haven't seen Dive versus Bastion in a long time, so I feel like this is Bastion favored just because of how the Immortality Field's going to play out, but Foster is scouting. They are not committed to this.
Yeah, as much as I would like to see Dive, I do see the Sombra just kind of running around figuring out what's going on.
They're on Dive. They're sticking on the comp. They're just going to roll out on this. I think this favors Bastion. I think it's too challenging to break Immortality Field, a shield, and a Bastion with this composition.
I mean, you also have to look where they're set up at, right? Like, Krev is way back in that corner where the bunker is set up, so it takes, like, probably 2 usages of everyone's abilities to get in position. As the fight finally does start here, though, the anti going out was huge on Anthemus, but the bunker in the corner is just dealing way too much damage for anybody to truly get in there. The Winston getting melted down left and right, but the hacks are proving to be annoying. J-Dash and Diamondtron both anti. However, Genji does go down, but the tanks are finding the kills here. Primo Rage already online. Getty is going to be able to kill every... As I say, Getty, Saber is just deciding Primal Rage is still an ultimate that can deal damage. They're all trapped in the corner. He could say, you know what, instead of you being a bunker, I'm not trapped over there, you're trapped over here.
Looks like he got pretty angry about the Bastion composition. But I do want to highlight the fact that Anthemus landed an absolutely wonderful anti-nade in the middle of that composition right after the lamp went down. And it made that play possible. But they're setting up on second point right now. They don't have any ultimates to their name right, or they have nano boost, but I imagine they're holding that for Genji play.
Yes, indeed. I mean, the beautiful thing about that attack is all you used was Primal, but that's also kind of all you built up. J-Dash now onto the Pharah, but no Mercy in sight, so Lammy's going to have to hit those shots. As the dive comes in on high ground, Ethot just out of position, and now the J-Dash has been taken out of the skies by the Genji. As the point percentage is going to start ticking up here for Tokyo Teto Foxes, the tank mode is going to come out from Krev. Is he going to find anybody? That's going to be the big thing. The blade comes out. It is nanoed. Lammy goes down. Krev is down to Getty. And that Genji in the backline is just at least causing havoc, mayhem, if you will. J-Dash on this Pharah in the sky, not really being forced to do anything besides touch the point. Genji is down, but it looks like unless we see a stall, nope, an even faster attack. 4:37 on the clock.
Oh, we're gonna be here for a while.
Yep. If anybody thought that the 6 CP meme was dead, well, you thought wrong. It's here. It's alive and well. Jeff Kaplan is hand delivering it to you as an early Christmas present.
Thank you, Jeff. All that I wanted for Christmas was to play 2 CP map for an hour straight. But we're going back. It's gonna be just Goblinos on the attacking end because they have the shorter time bank. They're gonna probably open up with the sim strategy. If it wasn't countered before, I'm imagining Tokyo Teto Foxes knew that it was coming the first time around based off what happened on Li Jing. So if it wasn't countered before, I don't really expect it to be countered now. And yeah, that's what they're set up to do at the moment.
Well, I mean, what do you really counter it with here on the offense unless you have like a bunker of your own? The only change up here is going to be Foster's now starting on the Hanzo versus attempting a bunker of any kind. So Junkrat going to have to be the main damage dealer, whereas Hanzo's more of a pick potential / Storm Arrow, the shield type of hero this time around.
Yeah, he's got a lot of shield break potential. I think the total of his Storm Arrows is 300, 400 something? I can't remember the exact number, and I'm embarrassed to try, but it's a lot of shield break. The Bab Zen being comboed with it means that this Bastion composition is going to be under a lot of pressure to find some pick before they just run out of defensive resources.
Yes, indeed. And now we're going to see the teleporters, as they are going to take the long way around once again. Probably known of at this point. It looks like Teto Fox is going to be able to just hit tab, see they're running this composition, be like, hey, we haven't seen them yet. They're probably just making the rotations. And the Sonic Arrow does nicely reveal everybody in that room. Say hi. Everybody sees where you are. As we are just waiting for another teleporter here for J-Dash, what's going to be the best angle to engage on here?
I might just be to hop above.
They somehow get into the back. They got into that back corner, and they have Immortality Field already used. However, Anthemus is down, so Krev is able to get that pick, and the Baptiste on both sides are traded out. Foster is trying to bring this back as the Bastion goes down to the Riptire from Divine. It just seems to be this back and forth war, and that's always going to favor the attackers on these 2 CP point A's. As Divine goes down, the anti-nade onto Saber, so even if there were a healer up, there's no healing that could be provided. Both tanks just kind of fighting. A Nano, interestingly,
J-Dash has DC'd.
J-Dash has decided that the cliff looked rather nice today and taken a tumble.
They haven't called for a pause yet, but J-Dash has disconnected from the game. Oh wait, nope, back. Never mind. I saw J-Dash just walk straight up a cliff in a straight line, not rotating. That usually means a disconnect. but it looks like she's gonna be fine. Yep.
Yes, indeed. So, interestingly enough, you do have those little internet things because we're not one of those rich, sophisticated tournaments. We're not on LAN. Everybody's on their own internet, and sometimes the internet providers just decide no.
I believe Jay is actually here playing from EU servers. So
yeah, that's rough.
a
That's
bit of a
rough.
lag.
Yes, indeed. But the engage is going to come straight down the middle. The shields for the side of Juice Goblinos already being melted on the engage, though, as they teleport to the point. But the Gravitic Flux throwing everybody in the air. Immortality Field. Now, there's the same moment Getty decides to drop them to their demise. And it's just going to be a matter of cleanup here and possibly staggers. You know, they can stagger out Diamondtron here or just get the kill. Krev, meanwhile, killing Divine just because why not? Krev on the McCree. Once more, we saw it on Li Zhang a little bit, putting on a clinic, and so now you know Divine's on this Pharah. You can stick with it. You can control high ground.
Getty, absolutely wonderful response to Immortality Field by using his flex when he knew the enemy no longer have it, but they're going this next fight, and Foster has his dragons, but they're going through the high ground. This could be really claustrophobic in a few seconds here if he lands it right.
I think the looming issue is always going to be that Immortality Field, though. It's kind of like a get out of jail free card that normally an ultimate can only provide. As we do see the engage come here, both the tank lines are just kind of meeting on this high ground, fighting. Saber does get the pick on the Krev, and then Saber goes down himself, but the damage has already been done. The defenders now have the better advantage, as it is a 5v5 here on the point, but Saber's going to be back a lot quicker, as the Pharah reigning justice goes down, not before taking out Data's and Lammy. Foster gets another pick on the Diamondtron, and it's just going to be another cleanup here, it seems, as Etha is the last one to go down. And with 30 seconds left, you do have a few ultimates on the board, but you got to be feeling the pressure.
Yeah, but some of these ultimates on the board are pretty big. They got the Nano Boost, they got the Sim Wall, they got the Gravitic Flux. And the counters to this are going to be basically Immortality Field and trying to Valk. Valk is a pretty strong counter actually to Sim Wall, so this does look pretty even. I love, of course, Black Market Falls. Interesting things happen.
Yes, indeed. As the amplification matrix come out from either side, Krev with the Deadeye is able to get Getty, but Foster answering back in kind, as well as Anthemus with the Mercy damage boost on all of them. And then J-Dash is able to find the Baptiste on the other side. Krev is being forced to search to the Tracer just to get back, but it doesn't look like there will be any heroics. So the goal to victory here for Tokyo to tie this series up is going to be capping one tick on B.
Yeah, in 4 minutes 37 seconds on the clock, they have more time to do it this time around than they took in their first attempt. So it's definitely looking good for them, but I think that Juice Goblinos were also in the same boat, and it didn't work out their way. It might just be the Tokyo Tetos finally figuring out how to run against this Bastion comp and are finally settling on the composition that they prefer to run alongside. I'm sorry, there appears to be another pause. I'm curious if Juice Goblinos are going to stick to their guns on the Bastion comp and just double down on this and try to work out the mistakes that they made last time, or if they're going to try and change things up to counter the fact that there's 4 minutes 37 seconds in the time blink and it wasn't the best defense the first time around.
I mean, yeah, it was just kind of figured out, scouted perfectly, and then the dive came through and the anti-nades, as you were pointing out before. But at the same time, Hanamura is one of those maps where you do see full holds on point A if the bunker can be played right, or even just standard pick compositions that pick apart attack time and again. So not out of the realm of possibility for Juice Goblinos to win this map, but it is kind of staunch looking at the time bank and realizing they have 37 more seconds than they normally start with.
Yeah, and I'm hoping that they just stay away from the corner that they were in last time. Speaking of Juice Goblinos, the corner that they ended up in just felt really claustrophobic, and it felt like a Winston Cleave could hit 4 targets at the same time. It built his primal super quickly, and it made it so that the anti-nade just had to wait for the shield to be down. I don't like it, and I really hope that they stay away from it.
I mean, and it does seem here on the defense, they're not even opting into the bunker. They're opting into double shield, variated a bit, Dimetron on the Reinhardt versus the Sigma, which you lose a little bit of range, you lose that flux, but you gain Reinhardt swinging and being just a masterful presence, whether on a point or at a choke. Meanwhile, once again, I think we're going to see Foster probably scout on this Sombra.
Yeah, if I were just Goblinos, I'd be not expecting the opponents to be running a sim and might be closer to that point, but this definitely is a little bit safer if you're worried about the sim shenanigans and aren't quite comfortable making those complicated rotations.
Yes, indeed,
Oh, they're
as it
back on
seems.
that. Sorry.
Uh, so Foster goes back with the scouting information. The switches finally do come through. Interestingly enough, yep, there's the final switch. I was going to say it's what people are saying is going to be the meta from here on out. Obviously, patch is still kind of new. There's still time to experiment, find a new meta composition, but it's a lot of shield break and a lot of picks. But
No.
as I say that,
Speaking of picks,
Lemmy's able to just be a DPS player for just a few short moments there.
yeah, and Juice Goblinos aren't really excited about the opportunity to move up. They're just gonna sit back. The shield seems to be holding just barely, but that's gonna change when the Zenyatta gets back.
Yes, indeed. So moving forward, do you think, like, because you're now running double barrier, are you playing for ultimates? That could burn a lot of time off of your clock if you're just going to try to wait for your ultimates to come online.
I don't think these ultimates are gonna really come into play in the next minute. These are all long charging ultimates. We got the May Blizzard, we got Earthshatter, Supercharger. It's gonna take a bit. That being said, Ethot does have his ultimate. That is the one fast charging one, and if he can use it to charge up the rest of his teams, then I'll double back on my statement and say they might be playing for ultimates.
But Foster is able to get the pick on the crab to start that fight off. That's not really good for the defense. Meanwhile, Anthemus is going down, and both supports are gone, so it's pretty much a lost fight here for the attack. Unless they can get some miracle picks, they literally have zero healers, no way to heal. Any damage they take is permanent. As Saber just decides to jump off the map and reset, and there goes Jetty 2, two tanks really just kind of showing how much they love each other. They do everything together.
But even though we saw J-Dash firing through the window, not a single percentage point ahead of Divine on the Tokyo Teto Fox's side's charge for Blizzard, which is kind of concerning because that is the big ultimate that's gonna probably decide this map just because there's no real counter for it on the side of Juice Goblinos. They have Immortality Field, which isn't really counter, and they have no way to eat it. Really, all they can do is fortify and walk out and freeze up the May and leave the rest of the team to die if anyone else has got in it.
I mean, yeah, but at the same time, at the very least, for the defense here, something they have is they've taken 2 minutes off of this 4 minute time bank, as we are unfortunately at another pause. The terrible internet strikes once more, and moving forward, it's going to be interesting, as you were saying, with the Blizzard. Interestingly enough, the Blizzards are exactly mirrored, so either there's been equal amounts of damage or no damage from the maze.
Well, she does a little bit of healing to get in the technicality, but that doesn't matter. Foster, however, has his ultimate, and they have the halt, and this could get out the Immortality Field, which would definitely open up the possibility for the Blizzard, just because that's the only piece of defensive utility. But it looks like they're charging in, they're running in, the halt is in, Immortality counters it.
Yes, indeed. But Ethot still goes down. That's a lot of healing gone. Lammy's going to be the only healer alive and was walled off, so Diamondtronic does go down as well. Meanwhile, Supercharger is now being dedicated for the attack. Or, not Supercharger. I completely misheard a voice line there. But pick after pick is going to come through for the attackers here. Tokyo Teto Foxes.
Coincidentally, Supercharger was actually also committed right after you called it.
I called it before it happened. I'm just predicting things. That's clearly what this is.
That's hard reads right there.
That's exactly what this is. But now a minute 50 to take one tick and tie up our series 1-1, or we could just draw, and then this entire 20 some odd minute map will have been for naught.
Well, it means that we get an additional map later on. But anyways, we're coming up on 2 blizzards here. But Dimitrodon, meanwhile, has the Earthshatter, so if he isn't caught in this, that might be the extra CC that they need to win the fight when both Blizzards are committed.
Yes, indeed. As they engage on the high ground here, all the shields, both Blizzards are committed. As you said, everybody is frozen almost immediately, but it seems like the attackers are getting the picks. Finally, they were able to get unfrozen first. It was Steam, and the first tick comes through. I actually think the Blizzard, it got LOS'd by the wall. I think it went a little too far in. They were able to get out of it, either hide in the stairs or vice versa.
They also had Transcendence, so just incredibly challenging to kill characters during it, and Choose Goblinos didn't have any defensive ultimate. Kind of an oversight in the matchup, but of course they didn't know like we did what they were running up against.
Yes, indeed. As we see Saber getting a 3 kill with the Primal. You don't see that too often, so it's nice to kind of enjoy it, remember simpler times. But that does tie up our scoreline here, 1-1 between these two teams. So that does mean we're going to hit up a nice little halftime. Hopefully you all will be here when we get back. If you need to go hit at the bathroom or something or get a snack, now would be the time to do so. But we will see you after this.
And that's
Well, how about
most of the
that?
time they're all just square.
Oh! Krev getting that early.
Around, but can they teleport in? That's the main question. Can they teleport in safely? Anything happening? It looks like they want to teleport up to the far high ground here. They actually, that was such a smart play. They used
That
the
was
wall
an insane
to get.
play.
Oh, that was insane. And now they're just on the point. They are walled up though. So Storm Creator is already down. One of the longer ones that I've seen ever. It just keeps on going with all these sustainable heroes. No clutch death loss this time from Blue though. The freeze is there on Paragon, but no one to kill him. Storm Creator and Sereniac are on the side, but they can't really get any kills out of this. It looks like the self-destruct may be able to get someone. Does get Aerosmith, but and Sereniac gets back into the well. Nexus actually falling in this time. No more Reaper. They're losing the DPS. Paragon is trying to swing around here, but Sereniac just pumps in the damage with those Diva shotguns. Osprey trying to get another boop in, but it's going to be Blue actually getting Paragon from the other angle. Blue teleporting forward, goes for a will. Can they actually get it back? It's insane. This fight is going on forever, and they catch it back. The volcanic violence.
Engage, but this is not what you want when you're going against double barrier and a huge ultimate gravitic flux from Prince Cats. He gets 3 of them with the help of his team. Awesome play there. To the rock accretion, kind of just taking a little bit damage down, and of course the first kill going to be coming over to Very Cool, who was playing on the Hanzo, so unfortunately he's not going to be able to get any picks here. Voltage doing a good work here of cleaning up the kills as this power of the Mei here, walling off connection lost, preventing them from getting onto the team. Nyquist tries to come in, gets counterpunched by No Karen. In fact, she just says no right back, and you see, damn it, Karen, wall going up, charge coming in from Despair. The power really of the combination with the Mei, and that's going to be a push to choke to hold them here.
That's really where they do well, even throwing Meteor Strike out with the Shatter. Nice combo.
If Loco can get it off early, that's gonna be the biggest thing if they see that Nano Blade coming. And it looks like here
They see it
comes.
coming.
Speed drop's gonna come. Oh no! The Gravitic Flux and the Blizzard come in. Ursa able to get the double with RDK popping the Blossom.
Defense, though, we're close to the defensive ultimate, so they're going to be a little bit of pressure if that Nano Blades hits right now, and it does look like it's going to come out. Oh, it's only the Blade! The Meteor Strike gets 3% Widowmane! This is a disaster! The Blade came out, and the Nano wasn't even used with it because Riftical was under too much pressure, so that means the Blade will get 1, maybe 2 kills, then rush in when you see an opportunity. And they're taking it a little bit slower now, so it might be good taking that device straight away. But the Barrage!
The Rock ends up taking out the Barrage. What? That's incredible right there. Like, it's...
And we'll see that there with the Coalescence being used to try and hold it, but it's not going to work. Yes, the Bongo will take down the Fist will take down the Bongo, which is nice to see, but Maddie's surprisingly going huge here, getting the kills, which is the power of Doomfist.
Idea on that one. Vaporous able to follow up there onto Lord Neon. It's a 5v6 bag as again Voltage obviously, as we saw in chat, has some wings right there. Getting to the high ground, melting anyone that didn't realize that they used tank mode to get up onto that high ground. We're going to see Lord Yukon, the only one left to try to hold on to the objective, get melted by Voltage. We see the
Big on the Desi, so it's still going to be that 5 in. The res comes on to Bastion, so all was for naught in the end. Bab goes down. Immortality Field was dropped on the carpet. It was shredded by the Bastion. Hammond just trying to stall eyes, but Scan Sigma 9! That's so unfortunate.
Finds Volta and Fortal with a charge kill on Define. That's 2 quick kills, 3. This Reaper will fall. Pilot will fall as soon as they get out of this race format. Unless they get out with the TP. Looks like they're just going to try to stall out points as much as they can, but a quick swap at around 20% is going to come through for the Smilers.
Comes back with a res, and now the window of pain coming down for XC. I don't think we're going to see Phantom use this barrage. Maybe he's going to drop down and use it on the tanks. He's trying to turn it around for his team, and he's able to pick off 2 with that? How does that happen?
Fight on the objective as we see the tackle come in from Captain. Ends up getting taken out by Starlock. Oh my goodness! Phantom with the triple kill starting off already, and they haven't even grabbed the objective yet. MacGyver finding themselves on the outside of the objective.
We may see a full hold on point A from them. Window of Pain gonna go down in an interesting position, but there's the barrier to protect all projectiles from coming in. It's gonna be the Immortality Biscuit to try to keep Scion alive, Silco, but he is in danger right now because the rest of his team is slowly falling and he's unable to protect them. Very cool. The only one left alive.
Regroup, get some health back, and he still is just getting picked. It's an insane DPS power.
Uncontested second point capture. Blue goes down. The Shatter falls from Paragon. The Blizzard to follow it up. I don't think anyone's getting out alive over here. What a beautiful follow-up. And they have the ultimate, so why not use them? Pacifist last to fall.
Looking for it, and it's going to be really difficult for anybody to catch him out. Wait, can the Lucio see him? The Lucio sees him.
Lucio sees him. He's stuck in there. The nano charge. Oh, takes down the Reinhardt. Ranter with the nano boost on the Fortal. Oh, but Fortal with the double fire strike off the nano boost.
Gets revenge on Joe Biden, takes him down. The Immortality Field for Jacques does not last any longer. And Wooby, huge barrage, takes down 3. Can we make it the 4th? There goes the 4th, and it's Alrighty, welcome on back. Hopefully you did what you needed to during our halftime because our team's got a nice little mental break as we are still here in the Platinum quarterfinals between Tokyo Teto Foxes and Juice Goblinos, tied up 1-1. And so far it's kind of been like close-ish, but off meta.
Yeah, but closest. We're 1-1. That's not something that happens super often in these playoffs. Actually, no, I'm looking back. There's a couple 3-1s, 3-2s. Project Ascension versus YMC9 is the only one so far in the Platinum playoffs, however, that has gone the full 5 maps. So, interesting, at least that we're getting this far, and then we're going to be guaranteed the 4th map at this point, and the 3rd map leading up to that is going to be King's Row, and with how cheese-heavy Juice Goblinos is, I hope that's not offensive to say, but with how cheese-heavy Juice Goblinos is, going into King's Row might be one of the worst maps for that kind of cheese, but the alternative is Eichenwald, which is a little bit better because you can kind of first point defense with the Bastion, but not a whole lot better.
I mean, pretty much hit the nail on the head there, but is it really a bad thing to be cheese at this point? I feel like some cheese teams have made a name for themselves, you know, Clockwork Vendetta, the original Goats team.
I mean, yeah, I guess in the grand scheme of things, cheesy teams might be just simply more memorable than not cheesy teams because they have that distinct playstyle and it gets people excited to watch them because they know it's going to be something different from the other matches. Yeah.
So, fun little facts our caster, or a producer rather, just passed to us is the disconnects in the last map were because Daydash is not only on EU servers, but is on hotel Wi-Fi on EU servers when we are playing here in the United States. So, that's always something fun. But looking towards the compositions we're seeing,
Jadash is subbed out actually for the Genji to lay on right now. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
weird composition. Sorry to cut you off there.
I mean, I was handing it to you.
Oh. Well, they're
As the-
pushing
oh.
up. They're teleporting back. Oh, I love this. Okay, it didn't work. They're backing up. They're gonna try something different, but it looks like they're in a pretty stable position. Both the immortality fields going down.
So very ballsy play, I guess would be the best word for that there. Krev now just kind of in the backline dealing damage. The Bastion's really able to find value just because of the fact the entire defense is playing around the Alderworth Hotel here. And it's working out for them. Meanwhile, Foster on this Hanzo already built a heavily way amount towards that Dragon Strike and just raining damage from the high ground, not really contested at all. The Sigma finally seeing it. But Getty does go down to Ethot, as I was being told. Meanwhile, both Amplification Matrix are being used. Anti comes down on the Animus. So it does kind of force the Zen to play a little bit more passive. Brinchy already playing passive. As the Zen goes down anyway, Divine is able to get the counter pick onto Clam. And now we have the Blizzard coming out as well as the Dragon. Everybody's caught in it. There's no immortality field. Everybody's down, left, right, and center. Only one tick given as the team bell or the team kill gong rings out. And it seems as though, moving forward, that this Bastion composition, it's interesting they're choosing a stick on this, possibly, you know, waiting on the tank mode to get the most value out of it. But they will have Supercharger moving into this next fight. And they dedicated pretty much almost every ultimate outside of the Gravitic Flux from Getty. As we are moving here into the next fight, they teleport to the high ground here. Juice Goblino is not ready to give it up just yet, as they now are on the high ground with the Bastion, which is going to be terrifying, and the Supercharger. Amplification Matrix as well, that's a lot of damage. Anthemus melted immediately. Foster right after. Clam able to take down the Baptiste, and it's just death after death here for the side of Tokyo Teto, and it's going to finally be a point A cap with a pretty nice time bank, I'd say.
Yeah, that was some really nice rotations on the high ground. They seem really adept at just abusing map geometry and finding weird places to place this Bastion that the opposing team are going to struggle to deal with. Coming back into this next fight, however, Getty does have Flux. Divine is coming up on the Blizzard, but there is going to be the Sim Wall and another Flux as well as the Bastion ult to counter it. And a Bastion ult in the sky can be quite a threatening sight with that one-shot potential.
Yes, indeed. And then, I mean, it's just a matter of the ultimate game right now. But the Blizzard is going to probably provide more value as the fight does start off here. We do have the wall dedicated for him, Symmetra and the Amplification Matrix coming out for Keiser. Unfortunately, not finding a lot of value as that Bastion ult finally does come out looking for the picks. Trev shooting down the main alley. Unfortunately, only finding shields shoot into no real pickable targets. The tank mode is over, but Foster is taken down by the side of Ethit. And now we have Bastion teleported to the high ground. Nobody's really being able to see him. He teleports back once the danger comes through, but it's too late. The picks are already raining through for the side of Juice Goblinos. And Clam taking people down left, right, and center. And that is going to be a very fast point B cap.
He teleported, I think, 6 times during that fight off cooldown, just to make it so that nobody could stop paying attention to him. But of course, the opposing team had to stop paying attention to him so they could continue playing the game. And then he popped back up there and did a whole bunch of damage. Just absolutely amazing. But going into this next fight, we're going to come up on Blizzard and Hanzo once again. Very challenging fight for Juice Goblinos coming up.
Yes, indeed. And it already starts off bad with Clam going down to the accretion from the Sigma, and then Key is able to take down Krev on the Bastion. So now everybody's kind of being forced to run for their lives. We're just Goblinos. Dime is going to go down just because the Mei slow is not going to let anybody escape willingly, and no ultimates were having to be committed there either. So now we have Krebs finally off of that Bastion, Clam off of the Symmetra. Doomfist McCree seems to be the name of the game. I don't know why you'd want to exactly dive into a Mei willingly, but if you think you'll get picks of the Doomfist.
If Doomfist should be able to make it out just in time before the Mei can freeze her using his uppercut, touching slammer, punching out, but Mei's going to be down, so it's not really going to matter.
Krev just gets the pick, allowing another one coming through for Krev, this time onto his support, and Krev just actually dominating on this McCree, deciding that this map's gone on too long, make it 4, and Clam deciding to come in for the cleanup kill onto Getty, and Saber's down as well. That's going to be all of the defense down here, and now we're rounding into what could potentially be a final defense hold here. Foster now on the McCree himself, trying to mirror these picks. There's a lot of ultimates you can hold here, but Divine with the Blizzard is going to be the biggest one. Blizzard chucked onto point. Both Amplification Matrix are being used as Key is going down to Ethot. Ethot is coming up huge with that in front of him, just dealing damage. And now we have the Transcendence out for Anthemis, is able to survive everybody through the Gravitic Flux there. May is down. Divine, it seems like we're in a stall phase as the Deadeye rings out. Ondo on the Orisa, just getting pick after pick. Key goes down, and with 227, Juice Goblinos is able to take King's Row.
That's pretty impressive, 227, but of course we saw a similar time bank on Hanamura, and that didn't end up going their way, so it's going to be really important to see how they're going to set up their defense here, because they set up their attack in a really unorthodox way, teleporting the Bastion on top of the statue, and I'm kind of, at this point, just expecting them to do something similar, because that seems to be their entire style and their entire plan in this tournament, if I'm not mistaken.
Be unorthodox. I mean, it's
Be unorthodox, run Bastion, teleport him around to weird spots nobody's predicting.
I mean, not in Overwatch tournaments, but in other tournaments of other games, I've actually had similar success with similar kind of just running random stuff that nobody would be expecting. So it is a strategy because your opponents can't really be caught on or off guard because they're not really sure what to guard against. And even if you were to go switch back to the meta, they wouldn't expect it because you're running off meta.
Yeah, it looks like we're not seeing the Bastion on the defense. We're going to see Krev on the McCree, Clayum on the May. Pretty choke-heavy comp, and if they can wall off Reinhardt or Orisa alone and then break the shield and chuck an anti-nade into it, it should pretty much spell disaster for this composition that we see Tokyo Teto lining up right now. But of course, if you can keep that shit up just long enough or not lose everybody to a May wall, there's a lot of good potential here for the Devil Snipers to find the angles that they need if the space is spot. As I'm saying that, however, Divine has swapped off of Widowmaker and is now on the May. So they're going to have their own possibility of putting up a May wall in the choke and making sure that the opponents just can't wall them back.
And this is where we come into that, once again, kind of war. We have the Reinhardt versus the Sigma. Reinhardt's going to be able to get more value. As the wall at the choke, you called it out perfectly. There's not really any follow-up for it, though. So the majority... Oh, and May gets picked off. Clam just kind of stuck in Alderworth Hotel. Meanwhile, the anti coming down as well as the sleep onto Saber. But the entire freeze, there's no shields for the defense here. Everybody's frozen. Both immortality fields traded just to try to keep the teams alive there. And now we have the Amplification Matrix coming out for Etha, but immediately goes down to Keezer. And just absolute rollover. And that's kind of what Reinhardt Lucio can allow you to do. If the enemy's not really expecting it, or there's no real stun of any kind, you can just roll over people.
Yeah. That was pretty excellent. Freeze and no touch a moment ago, but going into the Streets phase, they're going to have the Shatter. They're going to need to play around the Orisa shield, but they have the speed boost to do it, so it should be pretty effective as long as Saber isn't caught out right now.
Ooh!
Walled off.
Walled off by your own team on that Shatter. That's unfortunate and a half. But you did already lose your Reaper in that fight, so there was a very low chance you were winning that fight anyway. Now it's just going to kind of be a regroup on cart for the side of Tokyo Teto. And once again, these shields are just getting melted. But Diamondtron able to get some value, killing off Anthemis, so that's a lot of healing down for the side of Tokyo. They're going to kind of be forced to play it slow, wait for a pick, or just wait for the Baptiste to respawn as the wall is being dedicated once again, just to kind of get the team out of danger. As Blizzard's being dedicated, now that the team is regrouped, but Clam is in the backline on this Doomfist. Krev on the McCree uses the Deadeye to get down Divine, and now the Supercharger is coming out after Beat Drop has been used, but Diamondtron still has Gravitic Flux, so even though that beat just got used, it's just going to be an absolute slaughter next time Dime decides to use that ult, as they do stabilize for Juice Goblinos.
Yeah, going into this next fight, though, you're kind of broken on the ultimate economy a little bit, so it's just going to be challenging. There's a lot of damage amplification that Etha can forward down. Love Getty isn't going to quite be able to counter, but he is Anthemis. He's going to break down something like that.
Decides to initiate Diamondtron down. He can't use the Gravitic Flux if he is dead. And now the Shatter coming through once again. Onto all the shields are melted. Amethyst on the Baptiste, showing that that character can deal quite a bit of damage despite being labeled a support. And now Clam on the Doomfist trying to leave and just cannot. But because of where that fight happened here on point B, you're still going to get another one.
It might not. No, there's only one person card you're calling, right? Yeah, it's going to be a full reset. And going into the next fight, the fact that 2 ultimates were used by Tokyo and none were used by Goblinos, they're in a pretty healthy spot right now. Window
Yes,
comes
indeed.
down.
As the windows come down for both teams, but Divine and Foster are both mirroring their DPS counterparts, taking them down. And now the Reinhardt's charging onto Dime, not being able to use their Gravitic Flux as all Immortality comes one moment too late to try to save the Sigma's life. And now Ondel on the Orisa being forced to try to stall out the card, but unfortunately it looks like it's a stall in vain here, as they are going to go ahead and cap point B, moving into point C here with 4 minutes and 30 some odd seconds on the time bank.
We're looking right now to repeat of Hanamura because we're coming into this next fight with Blizzard ready on the side of Tokyo Teto and no defensive utility really outside of Dimetrodon just eating it and throwing a lamp down on the side of Juice Goblinos. So it's going to be really challenging for them.
Yes, indeed. As Clam initiates here, unfortunately not able to get value. Dimetron finally uses the Gravitic Flux, doesn't get anything from it. Foster, meanwhile, takes down the Immortality Field as well as that Sigma and gets the Orisa while he's at it. Amethyst takes down Clam in the back line, and Reaper's just putting on a clinic, and we're seeing almost a dead repeat of Hanamura. It looks like Tokyo is going to be able to finish with like an extra minute on the time bank, and the Hammond's halted off card, so he can't even stall.
Yeah, it's painful. Such a good attack every time from Juice Goblinos, and then just neither team seems particularly great at defense right now.
These teams are phenomenal attackers. I just don't think that they can defend that well. I think it's just kind of the best way to put it, outside of being rude, obviously, but you don't really want to be rude to anybody who has earned themselves a spot here in our quarterfinals. So, looking ahead, I wonder if we'll see more niche strategies.
Oh, yeah, we're back on Juice Goblinos on attack. I'm pretty confident they're going to pull out Bastion once again. Crap hasn't picked yet, so I have to hold my tongue and worry if I'm going to be correct or not. But meanwhile, we see Divine on the Pharah, Foster on the Hanzo, and Krebs on the Widowmaker right now, but that's kind of just something that you run at the opening. Get a shot out, maybe switch, decide where you want to do from there. But if they know that the enemy team is running this far, it could be a really intelligent counter pick.
I mean, it could, just because of the fact that Widowmaker, she can do a few things. Obviously, it's interesting how she can get played with double barrier. You almost kind of have to run her with a DPS who's going to primarily be running shield break. Otherwise, she's going to be very struggling to find value. But just takes the one shot, goes over to McCree. And now we just have a high ground defense set up here for the side of Tokyo Teto Foxes. And it looks like the rotation play for Juice Goblinos is going to go straight into Alderworth, where they're going to get peppered by Pharah Rockets.
Yeah, I'm taking some decent ground, but the bar set up on top of them, and the Immortality Field is coming on, is already down. That's a lot of their utility gone.
Yes, indeed. And so now that shields are being melted as well, there's no real shielding. Diamondtron already down to Foster with that damage boost from the Mercy. Ethot able to take down Saber, though, on the Orisa. Foster, once again, coming up big, mirroring the kills on Orisa here. And it's just a back and forth with these teams. Pharah trying to find some value, get a late stagger pick potentially, as Kieser is able to take down Krev in the backline. So that's the late stagger pick you're looking for, as there's only 90 seconds left here for the Juice Goblinos attack. And that's another stagger pick. And the barrage is almost online. There's pretty much just been some very impressive DPS play for the defense.
And the one counterplay that they're going to have to offer is going to be Ethot has Amplification Matrix ready. And they got to find a way to use that damage to pressure out some of these tanks with these shields or make sure that Pharah doesn't have room to operate. But it's challenging right now. They're forced to use a lot of their utility early.
I mean, yeah, as you said, Immortality Field was just kind of forced out there just because Pharah shot a rocket or two in. Meanwhile, the team is now split half and half. Krev is with the tanks trying to contest the point. And now Clam going in on the Doomfist, but immediately being forced to retreat. Ultimate's being dedicated. The Deadeye comes out, gets both DPS on the other side. This could be the opening, as Krev is nano boosted as well. Takes down Saber. Keys are on the other side, however, deciding to be the DPS player since his are down. Takes down 2, but unfortunately it just does not seem to be enough, and the Valkyrie Mercy decides to just flee for her life, as it is the safest play, but she looks like she might get staggered here. As we do finally see the cap on point A, they're not going to get any extra time in the time bank, though.
And Claim's a little out of position here. Well, and that's going to be pretty painful going in this next fight, because I don't expect Tokyo Teto to give them the time to get there. Well, actually, they're going to have time. Doomfist is going to respawn. They have lost high ground, however, to the Pharah, who is getting set to barrage out of this window.
But you do have to barrage straight into a McCree, so that's maybe not what you want, as taken down immediately by Krev on that McCree, is able to take down Ana, though, and Anthemus down as well to Ondel, and Clam able to put on a clinic with the Doomfist to getting the picks and finally clearing out the streets. Is going to be a nice long overtime push, at least moving so far, as Divine himself is now being forced to switch over to the Doomfist as we are in OT.
And coming into the next fight, Saber having the only ultimate to his team's name. Getty's going to come up on Flux, but of course there is Immortality Field, which is a pretty good. It's a kind of a budget counter to the Gravitic Flux, but it is a counter nonetheless. So they're not in the greatest spot at the moment, especially if Ethot can get his wall up once more and they can try to Electric Cowboy a second time, but they're pushing in right now.
Yes, indeed. Immortality Field already out for the defense here, and it is used. Divine able to take down Lammy. That's how we started this fight before, but Claim is down as well. Krev is going to find value, though, and now we've traded. It's 4 for 4 as we are on the very last seconds here of point B. The Immortality Field is down. The Amplification Matrix used. Deadeye from Krev tries to use it to get some quick picks. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. Amethyst takes down Krev, and now it looks like it's going to be a very defendable hold here. The Baptiste just kind of jumping around on point, stalling as long as he can. And the overtime wick, it burns so quick, just shy of point B.
3 minutes 45 seconds to take point B. That's an entirely reasonable thing to accomplish.
It's
really point B,
but you can still get full held.
Yeah, but point B so often devolves into just one fight for the whole thing. It makes it challenging. They have 2 losses this round, possibly 3 fights if they want to hold the map. And it puts them in a challenging position because 4 minutes on the time bank means that there's gonna be a lot of opportunity for those failures. But coming out, they're on Juice Goblinos are on Orisa Reinhardt. But they're not running a Lucius, so they're just bringing these double barriers for a lot of survivability and the ability to fortify up in the corner, but they're not doing it alongside a Bastion this time. Which might be that they're expecting their opponents to go on dive, and that they're trying to find some sort of catch to make sure that the enemies are stunned when they come in, and the McCree, of course, being great at that, dropping the flashbang into the Winston's face and then unloading a few rounds. But it's gonna be pretty challenging right now.
It is challenging, but it is possible. I mean, as we've seen, Krev on the McCree is not something you ever really want to dive into, even with an advantage. Looks like they're going to have Foster scout again, possibly debate compositions on what we're running here. It looks like with Getty going over to the Orisa, interestingly enough. There we are. Swaps finally do come through, and it looks like we're going to have this same kind of comp where Teaser on the Lucio is going to have to speed boost the Reinhardt in, and they're going to play super aggro. As Fire Strikes are traded out, back and forth, the swings come through. Meanwhile, Keyser, the speed boost is down. Clam able to find that pick early. Immortality Field now being forced to be used, and finds another one. Foster down to this Doomfist. He's able to just get in, get a punch, and get the rest of the team to just kind of chase him as they leave, however. So now being forced back to spawn. What is your answer here?
I mean, run it again. You're going to get Blizzard eventually. It's nearly impossible for this lineup to counter Blizzard because of the lack of beat or Transcendence.
As Amplification Matrix out for the attack here, Clam is able to take down Keyser once again, but Foster takes down Diamondtron. Ethot taking down Saber. Both Reinhardt's and Immortality Fields are gone. Foster once again still finding more value, taking down the other tank, and Clam is still just uncontested in this backline, just getting pick after pick, and Krev chipping in to get the final blow onto that Mei there. It is going to be another reset here for the attackers and defenders alike. However, the attackers might be able to get back in before Orisa does. Or Ondel, I should say, for the
Yeah,
defense.
they're going to have a split second to do it, but There's the opportunity for Shatter, so if they go a little bit too fast, Damage might be able to catch them off guard if he can build it up. But of course, Divine having the Blizzard, this fight might just be sealed already because of how impactful that ultimate's going to be.
Yes, indeed. As they're all halted together to get the most value out of the Blizzard, Clam immediately down. Ethod is well up on the high ground. The Nano Boost onto Dime, but it's not really going to save him as he finally does fall. Ondel on this Orisa is taken down as well. And now we're going to be looking at probably around 90 seconds to push through B here.
Is Orisa going to get a good spawn, though? That's the question here, and it looks like just barely, meaning that this team does have the opportunity to get 2 fights in here, but it's going to have to be close if they want to make sure that they get the second fight guaranteed on the King's Row. Second point.
Pretty much, but you do have an ultimate bank and a half to work with here for the defense, so this is going to be one of those things where you can choose to burn it all, or you can wait for that last fight. As Anthemus starts with the amplification matrix for the attackers, Tokyo Foxes, the Doomfist punching in, not able to get a pick on that one. Amplification matrix now dedicated, as well as the Shatter, and Foster uses the Deadeye. Pretty much everything used. Trev using the Deadeye as well, not getting any value out of, however, and Clam using the Meteor Strike, so that's quite a bit. That's both your DPS ultimates given up for nothing.
But going to this next fight, they're at a pretty good spot. Even though they wasted some of those ultimates and they held on to them, they'd be in a much better spot. They're going against Just Beat right now. They have our Shatter. They have Bongo. 36 seconds left on the clock. This is last fight territory, and they have time to reset. This is still a very much a live game.
Yes, indeed. It's nowhere near dead. But you're starting to get worried as the Superchargers, the first thing dedicated is Shatter onto the high ground because of the wall. Gets no value. The beat drop comes out anyway. Saber, and no one's on the court!
They're down one and not looking at a good
just watched.
That's a C9, and that's gonna feel bad.
Oh no! So the series of events that starts there is you have
Shatter.
the May walls the Reinhardt to the high ground. The Shatter goes to waste, and then I guess Clam on the Doomfist supposed to be the one to touch cart, or the Orisa just backed off just a meter too far?
So Saber, or Andel, I mean, on the Orisa was like a meter outside of the card zone for touching. W key for a quarter second would have been fine. Super close, tiny misjudge in distance. Because I think they expected Dime to stay alive a little bit longer, but the moment that he died, the cart inched forward and some of the map was over.
So after something like that, you can't really dwell on it though. For Goblinos, you kind of have to. You don't have any time. It's just one of those things where you have to pull yourself together because you're now down one map. Teto Foxes on match point here because, as we said, it is a 1-3. Teto Foxes with the secure of Kings Row have 2. Feel like we're breaking it down a little too much, but yeah.
No, and of course, we're on 2 maps that it's basically impossible to draw on. There's a small technicality on the possibility of drawing on Rialto, but there shouldn't be a draw from this point onwards, so we should have 1 or 2 maps remaining, guaranteed. Of course, with Tokyo Teto Foxes winning the first map, it's going to be the end of Juice Goblin's run will be over, but if Juice Goblinos wins, the next one's going to be the final match for the 5th match for the 2nd time in the Platinum Division playoffs, which will be exciting, but...
Well, to get to a 5th map, we first got to go through our 4th map, which is looking to be Rialto right now, and it was Juice Goblino's pick to take us here. So, interesting enough, because Teto Foxes have been the ones kind of willing to run this aggressive Lucio kind of offense with a Reinhardt, so why opt into Rialto against that? Maybe your Bastion plays, or you have some niche strategies there as well?
Maybe they just, instead of walking across the first bridge, they just teleport across the first bridge on the Bastion is honestly my expectation based on what we've seen so far.
But if they teleport across the bridge, then they'd leave the cart behind, which we just saw them do. Which, I mean, I guess it's not outside the realm of possibility.
Who needs that cart? It never did anything for them.
Doesn't heal, doesn't, I mean...
It heals like, what, 3 HP a second?
I mean, the card on King's Row is pretty impactful. Isn't the lore behind it that it's actually a device of some sort to detonate and destroy all the Omnics. I'm pretty sure.
I think so, but weren't they
Some
running an
lore.
Omnic?
I think there were some Zenyatta's in play.
Okay, I went and found the number. The payload heals for 10 health a second, which is half a Lucio. No, half a Brigida Inspire, I should say. It's a little bit more than half a Lucio.
You heard it here first. Your payload is half of a Lucio.
A little bit more, actually. Let me pull up the numbers real quick. Hold up. I'll get to the math. Be back in a second.
As Heathen is running numbers, we are actually here on Rialto, which, despite, some of the annoyances this map has brought, is really just a aesthetically pleasing map. It's one of those things I can always look at and be like, this is going to be a fun day watching people perish into a river or get shattered.
The payload is 62.5% of a Lucio. But quite a bit, actually.
So,
but exactly half, I believe, is of Inspire.
So, I mean, hey, if you're running math, how many people have to be...
how fast does the cart build its ult?
Yeah, how fast... yes, how fast does the cart... and also, I'm being told by the teams, as I am the big dumb, it's actually the Teto foxes, not the Teto.
Oh, really?
So,
my bad.
Potentially some vowels are interesting. We're using the letter O, but we're saying it is an A. But hey, welcome to the English language.
I never claimed to be literate.
Anyway, the game, we have some Pharah.
Yeah, Pharah v Bastion. There's no Symmetra, however, so they're probably just going to sit up on cart, which gives Pharah the opportunity to boop, so it's going to be a little bit Never mind, Krev is taken out already.
Yes, indeed. Krev already down, so you're not going to find anything for the Bastion. Meanwhile, the tanks are just kind of waiting on bridge for a Pharah boop almost. It's kind of terrifying. Saber able to take down Clam in the backline. That Doomfist not going to get anything this time around. Meanwhile, that payload is just kind of stuck right after the bridge, so Pharah boots are still an option, and they're quite risky as well, as everybody's halted to the middle of the bridge, and Krev being forced out of the spawn now.
Yep, but Krev setting up in Bastion. They finally have their team here, and they drop Immortality Field. It's looking even so far. Neither team really engaging too far. Clay making back just in the nick of time, but Pharah gets the first kill.
Yes, indeed. Divine onto Lammy, able to take that Ana down, so now all that's left is Ethot as the Dragon Strike comes in, and the Shatter as well. That's quite a few ultimates being utilized there for the defense. I mean, you get this fight win with Kieser himself getting a few kills on the Baptiste. I mean, do we still call Baptiste a support? Like, it's an insane amount of damage that can be output.
We call Zena support. We can call Baptiste a support too.
Do we though? As Foster gets another! Oh, Juice Goblinos have all of a sudden gone from making this a back and forth series to being quite literally spawn camped.
Yeah, 2 minutes in, and Rocket Barrage is getting ready. It's charged up, and she's sitting... Nope, she's falling a little bit back. My bad.
Unfortunately, the Pharah is not going to really opt into that. Meanwhile, Ethot is going to use the Amplification Matrix, mirrored by Kieser on the other side. Just kind of both teams waiting the other out. Now we have 2 hit scans up for Juice Goblinos to try to deal with this Pharah, take it down out of the sky. As the Meteor Strike, as the Barrage comes in, as well as the Dragon Strike, kind of protecting the Pharah, not letting her get killed. Anti comes in onto Saber in that fight, but it's all for naught, as Immortality Field is able to save Saber, but drop dangerously low. The Fire Strike comes through. Getty is going to drop Supercharger first. It seems to just be a back and forth brawl, but Kieser finds the first pick onto Krev on that Ash. That's one less hit scan to worry about for a Pharah. And now Dime slowly dropped down, is finally taken out. Saber getting the pickup off of that one, and Foster also taking down Ondel, and we're down to 90 seconds here, and there's just seems to be no value for anybody on the attacking side.
Going in this fight, however, they're coming up on 3 ultimates. They're not the clearest cut of combos, but if you can maybe put Clam on the high ground with a high noon during a grid of flux, you have the opportunity to shoot everybody out of the sky. But that being said, Pharah is providing a lot of pressure right now, and she's 62% to another Rocket Barrage.
Yes, indeed, but Pharah is going to be hard-pressed to find a whole lot of value with 2... hit scans obviously being in the way. As both Immortality Fields seem to be traded out once more, Ethot taken down by the Shatter. The whole team really shattered outside of the Ashe and the Ana. Gives time for Dez to be revived after Krev is finally able to get that pick. Saber dropped dangerously low and is taken out after being anti. Could not be healed there. Clam. Oh, but Death. Divine is able to take down both Ondel and Ethot on the Orisa and the Baptiste, but Krev finding that pick one more time. The Nano Boost being dedicated to the Sigma. And with like less than 20 seconds, we're finally seeing the push come through. There could still be one more fight here for the side of the Foxes.
Yeah, Saber's on the Reinhardt. He should be able to make the charge, but it's not going to be a great opportunity because they're pretty down in ultimate. It's going to be up to Foster's Dragon to somehow pull this together, and he's still in spawn.
Yes, indeed, but Divine going into the backline with Doom, but the Saber picking up two. Clam on the McCree finds huge value with the Deadeye, and the Ashe as well. Bob just doing everything, and in overtime, we're going to see Juice Goblinos push through point A, and after how hard they were getting held, we're now seeing kind of a reverse of pace. Picks are coming through. The spawn camp is now on the other side as Clam is pushing dangerously deep looking for a pick.
And we're seeing some swaps come through. Dimetrodon has swapped over to the Reinhardt, a little bit behind in the ultimate charge fight between the Reins right now, which is going to mean that Saber has a little bit more room to work with because he's not worried about the enemy Reinhardt capitalizing on bad positioning. But going into this, no ultimate's quite ready yet.
Yes, indeed. But Krev is able to take the high ground and just continue taking pop shots for free on this Ashe, and it's definitely a concern. As Supercharge is now being dedicated, as well as Amplification Matrix, Foster finds Ondel, but Krev on this high ground takes down Foster, followed it up on with a kill onto the Zen, obviously with Dynamite. Krev is just putting on a clinic one more time for everybody involved. Saber, meanwhile, taking the other Ryan on a nice little date by himself. Not really sure where that's intending to go, but Krev is now the only one on cart as the last few picks. Yep, the little cleanup comes through, and I wonder if we'll get another fight here or if it's just going to be free cap.
Oh, Foster says we're getting another fight in.
Is that a fight or is that just feeding?
Okay, yeah, it was feeding. You're right, it was just feeding.
There's a debate. Everybody who is in plat, please discuss. But now we're
Divine
seeing...
looking for a flank right now.
Yes, indeed. It's interesting we're still on this Doomfist despite the... Oh, but the Halt comes in. Isn't unfortunately going to find anybody, and now Ultimate is being dedicated left and right. Diamondtron gets the Shatter off onto quite a few people, and the Nano Boost being dedicated as well as the Coalescence. Pretty much 3 Ultimates thrown in just to clear out that area there. So all of a sudden an overtime push, still 2 minutes on the clock as they're going to be rounding the final corner and trying to lock this one up here on Rialta.
Yeah, but going into this next fight, they actually pretty even on ultimates. They're gonna have the 7th man to throw in with the supercharger, but they're gonna have to compete with Window, which is a little bit more damage justification.
Yes, we do, but the Deadeye does come out, but it's taken down by the Dragon. There's just too much damage coming out. The supercharger is dedicated for Ondo, but there's no value for it. The Bob thrown in as well doesn't get anything, and Saber's able to just clean up on cart, and we do finally have a defensive hold after there was a little bit of snowball going for BNC, but we seem to have stabilized. You still have Transcendence. It's looking good.
Swaps coming through. Krev is on the Tracer. It looks like they're going to try and harass this back on a little bit, see if they can get the Transcendence out of Anthemist early, but they don't have a whole lot to capitalize on once that does happen. In a minute on the clock, they're going to need to come up with a plan for the following fight, because unless they get an absolute miracle right now and just manage to take it away.
Yes, indeed, the Fire Strike's coming in. Krev now on the Tracer looking for that miracle, possibly a pick onto his Zenyatta as they're in the back line. Foster already having used the Flashbang. Immortality Field now out for Keiser as well. As the Ryans are just kind of brawling on card, as well as the Doomfist coming in on the back line, takes down the supports. Krev takes down Foster, and Diamondtron able to just keep swinging away. Krev killing everybody, getting the finishing blows. You see those little Reinhardts in the kill feed assisting, but with 35 seconds left, we are going to see Juice Goblinos complete the map.
Yeah, just a little disappointing to see the fact that they had ultimates that they didn't use at the end there, because if they'd popped that Transcendence in response to the Earth Shatter or in response to some of the pressure from the Tracer, they might have held on a little bit longer. And of course, every second does matter. Little misplays though. Going into this next defense, Juice Goblinos have been shying away from their Bastion a little bit more recently, swapping over to putting Krev on Tracer McCree, all sorts of characters. So I don't know if they've entirely given up on their Bastion routes yet, but it's looking less and less likely that they're going to open up on it again.
I mean, it's just a matter of being able to find value with it. They struggled for about 2 minutes here on the offense, not finding anything with the Bastion, but as you say it, Krev is on the Bastion, ready to go, and Clam has been finding quite a bit of value with his Doomfist. There doesn't seem to really be an answer in the back line.
Yeah, and we're going to run into Divine on the Pharah, but there are technically 2 hit scans on the opposing side. Just they both happen to be supports. So
I mean, Arisa's hit scan? Question mark? Kinda.
What? No.
If you lie to yourself.
By definition incorrect. But anyways.
By definition, a lot of things I say are incorrect. However, Orisa does the shooty shoot. Therefore.
Most of the things I say are wrong is not a defense.
Listen, it has been a very...
Double shield against Widowmaker, though, is kind of a counter just because you can dedicate your Sigma shield to making sure that Widowmaker doesn't keep an angle, but it's going to be up to Dime to make sure that Widow doesn't see any value this match.
Yes, indeed. However, if Pharah is able to melt the shields, I don't think it'll really matter as Anthemis goes back into the spawn. The whole team goes back to spawn and back to dive. Everybody's been asking for it for months. Here it is. It's slightly modified. There isn't a Tracer. You have a Sombra, and there's no Diva. You instead have a Hamster, but it is dive.
Yeah, it just seems to be what they like to run against this Bastion comp, and pressure's got to be on for Juice Goblinos because they've run against this a few times already, and it's never really worked out for them.
Yes, indeed. As everybody's kind of posturing, and there goes the dive onto the Bastion, trying to find a target to focus, and Krev does focus down Saber as well as given the immortality field. Meanwhile, the anti just comes onto everybody who dives, and Krev just killing everybody because if you're not killing the Bastion's killing you. It's just that simple. And Anthemis slightly staggered out.
Yeah, and it looks like Summer in the backline trying to get some ult charge, but might just end up becoming ult charge. Nope, she made it out. Her teleporter's pretty far away. Just taking this little mini. I mean, this next fight, however, all the ultimates that are threatening to be ready are on the side of Juice Goblinos, so they're in a pretty good spot as long as they don't fall to just some really good dive coming out of Tokyo Teto Foxes.
Mm-hmm. And it's just going to be, obviously, if we see the dive come in once more, even if it's coordinated properly, as the Winston comes in, uses the bubble, immortality field is given as well as the anti-used, and Divine already down on the Genji, Endo down, and both tanks. And it's just going to be another cleanup fight here as the dive is just getting countered time and again. They dive in, they get antied, and then Doomfist inevitably punches somebody.
I think a lot of this is resting on the fact that Kalum is going in, or Clayum is going and fighting the Sombra, because she wasn't able to do anything in the last fight. She was translocated out for the entirety of the fight, unable to provide value, and she's still 72% to ult. And it's been great to make sure that this character just doesn't provide any value, because it is one of the biggest things to counter your composition right now.
Yes, indeed. And now Getty actually switching over to the Diva here, possibly to eat those anti-nades that we've known as a problem. And once again, Foster scouted out, as you pointed, Doomfist coming in, but Getty is able to take down Krev. The immortality field is trying to protect people in the backline. Ando giving the nano boost as well as the supercharge, so that's a lot of damage. Meanwhile, Clam in the kill feed just cleaning it up as you see the Ana and the Genji both down in his name. Primal Rage being dedicated, but unfortunately just kind of using that to hop on out. Maybe an ultimate you want back, but at the same time, Primal's one of those ultimates you can kind of just throw away. There's not too much value you can get from it unless you're in certain situations.
We're at the point where we need some tactical feats so that Anthemis can build up that Nanoblade, because they're coming up on EMP Nanoblade, which is an absolutely devastating combo, and they know it. Krav right now walking around in the backline, not trying to get EMP'd, but he's going to set himself up.
Yes, indeed, the EMP comes through, and there's the blade as well as the nano. And unfortunately, Immortality Field gets used and everybody's forced out of it. Meteor Strike used just to kind of get away, I guess, as he comes back down on the cart. Interestingly enough, instead of trying to run and reset with his team, he gets hacked out and staggers himself. So it's quite possible that there won't even be a recontest here because it'll be a 5v6 unless that Doomfist can get back extremely quick.
Oh, Andel's gonna touch.
Yes, indeed. But as the Bastion is slept, Andal does touch and taken down. Divine takes down the opposing Ana with a shot from Krev. And then Krev goes down. Meanwhile, it's just kind of a stall fight here. Clam goes down, and it's going to be a fruitless defense hold here as the picks just keep coming through for the side of Tokyo. And right now, it's just kind of you're worried about feeding over ult charge to that Sombra, because unless Krev's going to put something on this Tracer, it is over.
Yeah, and they're making some swaps. Krev is on the Tracer now. He's off of the Bastion. Curious to see if he's going to stay off of the Bastion, though, and if Andal at 65% all charge. Nope, going to swap back over to the Oversupply, the smart play, and Krev is on the McCree. Okay, they've settled in, but at this point, Nanoblade's about to be off cooldown again. And there's not a lot you're going to be able to do about it right now, if you're the Juice Goblinos.
A well-timed sleep dart is pretty much your only counter. As an anti comes through onto these tanks, antis like that can't be going through both shields. Like, the shields have to be in place there for the defense. As Clam's trying to initiate with the punch, goes for the uppercut, forces Sombra out, but then is caught in himself. All abilities used, finally able to get back to his team. As this cart is still just kind of moving meter by meter closer to that goal. As the punch comes in once more, Clam going down, the Nano Blade going into the backline is stunned up. However, the Immortality Field saving people's lives, and the Doomfist punches him into the wall, gets the Nano Boost himself. Anti coming in, unfortunately not finding any value. The Doomfist going into the backline, able to get Anthemus. Is still in that backline, but Winston's having none of it, trying to keep him there. And kills Lucio, getting out of that corner. And so it looks like it's going to be a staunch little defense here for Juice Goblinos, as we are looking at just over a minute on the clock.
Yeah, and the cart's going to roll back a little bit, which has the opportunity of giving them a possible second fight if they lose this one, because they do need to be worried about losing this next one. The EMP is going to be ready for Foster. There's no Nano Blade to combo with it because both the Genji and Nano have swapped off, but EMP on its own is still going to be a very scary ultimate to try and deal with.
I mean, there's the EMP bomb combo. You lob Bob in, you think you're good, your shields are set, and then all of a sudden the EMP takes him all the way. As the Doomfist is trying to dive high ground, and there it is, the EMP bomb combo. Is anyone going to find? Divine does take down Dimetron, but the Deadeye is out, doesn't find anything. Clam takes down Anthemus. Huge pick onto the support, and Clam takes down another support. Krev in the backline takes down Saber, who keeps trying to dive him over and over. Divine taken down on the cart. Meteor Strike now being used for Clam, probably just to kind of get out, make sure he stays alive for this final fight. And Foster is staggered. Getty is out of mech. And it's just going to be stagger after stagger here. There's not really going to be a clean fight. It's just going to be a matter of insane picks. Insane picks. Saber going down. And now we have Foster going down as well. Ethot on this Baptiste just killing everything. Krev as well getting the nano boost just to kind of finish this off as the anti comes through. And unfortunately, it does not look like Getty can touch on that Hammond. And we are going to map 5.
Tokyo Teto Fox is just not quite finding the value that they needed on that Diva Bomb coming with the EMP. Maybe a tiny bit of a miss time, but they were so close. They had the utility to get there. They could have had the map and been done. Now they go to the map 5 instead, which is Control, I believe. And they lost the first one. We're going to Ilios to be specific, and the fact that they lost the first Control in a 2-0 fashion doesn't look great for them. That hurts.
Juice Goblinos right now, obviously feeling good about themselves, but at the same time, that dive was still putting in a little bit of work, and there's a reason a lot of teams don't opt into Ilios. We don't really see it. Everybody goes to Lijiang, so unless you're in these Game 5 scenarios, so maybe some teams have it prepared. You might not be able to get away with strategies as common or anything like that.
The worrying part is well.
Well, quite literally well.
Well.
Indeed.
One of those cheesy King of the Hill maps where Boops reign supreme, and it's one of 3, and Bastion has all sorts of colorful opportunities here if they run it with that Symmetra and teleport him around a whole bunch. Back onto a map that Juice Goblino's style fits really well into. I'm really worried for Tokyo Teto Foxes here.
I mean, definitely. It's one of those things where but if we remember back to Lijiang, sure, it was a 2-0, but there still were fights put up for the Tokyo Teto Foxes, so all is not lost. It's still possible here. It's just a risk at this point.
Yeah, I'm curious to see. I'm going through the 3 maps on Ilios in my head. Of course, well, it's just going to be a big meme with a whole bunch of boops, and both teams are probably going to run Orisa Hog. But we also have Lighthouse, and we have Farah's Playground. I forget the name of the map right now, or not Farah's Playground, Widowmaker's Playground. Ruins, I believe, is the name of the map, and I don't think I've seen a straight Widow duel yet, or anybody playing Widow for more than like 10 continuous seconds at the start of a map. So I'm interested to see if either team's going to be able to abuse that because of how extremely strong that character is on Ruins.
Yeah, obviously, because the double barrier meta is what it is. Like I said, to find value with that Widowmaker, either you're going to have to take extreme off angles, or you're going to have to pair it with a DPS who can dedicate themselves straight to shield break. So, obviously, we are just kind of stalling a little bit for time as teams are going to take a potty break, because we have been here for a little bit of a minute. You know, we started somewhere around 8:15, 8:20, and here we are an hour and a half later, still going strong. But I mean, it's been a great game. That's something I cannot take away from either of these teams. They've shown why they deserve to be here.
I love how many memes that Juice Goblinos can pull out. I don't think I've said that enough, but Electric Cowboys, Sim Teleporter into every weird spot that one knows about these days. And Tokyo Teto Foxes, of course, pulling out Dive has been really exciting to watch. Even in not super successful, looks like we're waiting on the game mode to start.
The game mode is not starting. We have some NA production. Please spam your NA productions in the chat. Speaking of the Twitch chat, obviously we want you to start spamming it as we don't get Game 5 every day. So start spamming it up. See who you want to win. Do you want Juice Goblinos to take it? Or do you want Teto Foxes to shut it all down here on Ilios? As we do have a nice little pause.
Yeah, so Ruin's first map. It's gonna be, this is kind of the wild card of the maps. With Lighthouse being the one that I think would favor Teto Foxes, and Well being the one that I would assume to favor Juice Goblinos. This is the wild card. Up to the Widowmakers, really. Every time we see this map. Who do you think? Krev got to be the Widowmaker for Juice Goblinos, and he's going to go up against Divine, I believe. Because I know I've seen Foster on the Hanzo. I think he's their projectile player, and I'm imagining Divine to be their hit scam. Who's going to pull out the sniper on this?
Yes, indeed. I mean, I'm pretty sure, but obviously we've seen kind of the blurring of the lines almost as both Clam and Krev were playing DP or playing hit scan rather. So it'll be interesting to see who truly rolls out on it. If anybody rolls on it, we could see just some very tanky compositions potentially with Bastion or what have you. But I think we are just unfortunately in this kind of waiting area. So I am going to try to look to the chat, see if anybody is saying anything. We do have Ace Ventura saying Orisa Hog Lucio Brig, do it. So I mean that's a potential composition you can run out.
It's a fun one. It only holds up for about 4 seconds, but if you can win that 4 seconds, it's a really strong composition.
Yes, indeed. And we do have a few, one or two messages going for Teto here. Always interesting to see. We do have some Let It Rain in the chat. Unfortunately, the Atlanta Rain aren't on your screen right now. But we do have some hit scans, so, you know, instead of Baby Bay, you just get Krev. Which, I mean, close enough, right? You know, Baby Bay's clearly platinum. As we do, and we see some questions in the chat asking, this is indeed a PC league. It is the Rose Cup. There's a lot of information about it. There is actually a Discord server. I don't know if there's a Discord server command in chat, but you should be able to scroll down and click on the little window. You're able to join our Discord, join our lovely community. It is growing every single day. You have to remember, we started the Rose Cup with, I was a very small number. I don't even think I was on board at the time. but we've grown to 126 teams here in Season 3, and we actually are coming to the end of Season 3 with our playoffs, this being one of our playoff games right now. So hopefully, if you're interested or you have friends who are interested, you can maybe form up a team. We do have divisions ranging from gold to grandmaster, so pretty much everybody's welcome. As we say that, though,
Yeah, killing me to not know what the compositions are going to be. And
I mean,
please tell
we
me
are
there's a ringer.
dealing with.
Please tell me there's a ringer. I'd really hate for it to just be a forfeit after freaking 2 hours. And getting to the map 5.
Getting to the map 5, we are dealing with some internet issues, and I don't remember the exact ruling, but there is a time limit issue that could be addressed or possibly used by the other team here. So if it is a 5-minute total pause that you are allowed here, we're pretty sure, and then if the other side decides to, enforce that rule and push it, then it could just be a forfeit, which be an unfortunate way to see how this ends. But if just unfortunately how it all works in total. So hopefully y'all aren't too angry with our NA production, our attempt at stalling rather. When does Season 4 start? That is a phenomenal question, and I would recommend joining the Discord, and they will give you announcements about when it starts, when signups happen, and all that fun stuff. And then we also have Ventura in the chat again saying Team Direwolves #1. Well, Team Direwolves aren't here right now. So
That's weird to see.
You can support and can I join as a free agency instead of joining with a full team. You actually can Fallen TTV. You don't have to. I don't know if there's actually exact signups for that, but there are always teams who are looking, scouting, and the Rose Cup Discord is a great place to find players for your team, possibly start a team of your own. Obviously, whatever options and anything like that you choose to run. Put me in, coach. I'm gold PC, Masters PS4. I mean, unfortunately, Masters is overqualified here for the Platinum division. So if we put you in, you would be
There's a Masters division.
There is a Masters division, but I'm talking about.
Yeah. Coming in for this match?
Yes, I'm talking about coming in for this match.
Oh, okay.
But I mean,
coming in general.
I mean, are console players Smurfs at that point? Because it's kind of different.
We have a substitution being made. Or Ethot. No, okay. Appet has come back.
At quite literally the 12th hour, the time was running out. Ethot has returned. The internet been reconnected. The McDonald's Wi-Fi router has been plugged back in, so we are all good to go here, and we are finally going to be running on Ilios Ruins, and we're going to see what these teams want to roll out with.
Oh, I've been wondering about this the whole time. Okay. Krev on Widow, no Widow in response. Worrying sign for this map in particular. It is, however, you got the Lucio, you got the Mei. You could run straight into the enemy composition, but you got to close that distance first. And on Ruins, it's really challenging to close that distance without opening yourself to some sort of angle for the sniper, which in this case is going to be Krev, to peek into your comp and try to find one of those backliners. There aren't many squishy backliners because there's 250 health DPS though. So possible, but not meta for this map.
Not meta at all, obviously. And we're going to be looking to see if Krev can get value out of this Widowmaker here with the long sight lines. No one really can test either. Meanwhile, the Maywall does have Diamondtron singled out, and the Immortality Field bursted down, and then right after Foster able to get it. But Clam takes down Foster, so the Reaper is down, but both tanks now being eliminated with Anthemis killing Ondel on the Orisa, and Getty getting the long-range pick onto Krev on the Widowmaker. I guess Orisa is the new sniper in town these days. The anti comes through, but it's just a tad too late. And as I'm being told by production, she's clearly hit scanned XDDDDDDDDDDDDD.
God, why?
Moving into the next fight.
Yeah, so they managed to close the distance. They got the Mei wall in and they collapsed on the enemy tanks. That was very well done from Teto. But they're coming back and Krev is on the McCree this time, so they're going to be fighting closer. And Reaper's taken out on the side.
Yes, indeed. Unfortunately, went too far. Krev used that flashbang to get the pick. Clem now taking out Anthemis, which means the Baptiste is gone. Both Reinhardt's laid out. Meanwhile, Diamondtron is frozen. The Mei is just being a nuisance in the backline, and Saber commits the shatter here. Meanwhile, Nano Boost gets committed as Krev is just raining free damage from this high ground here. And it looks like short of 50%, we're going to see the flip to Juice Goblinos.
Yeah, and going into this next fight, Divine is going to come up on that Mei ultimate, that Blizzard, which has been a struggling point for the Juice Goblinos this entire series. I don't think there's been a single Blizzard that they've won the fight through yet. Oh, and Foster on the Widowmaker now. He's not going to be contested at the moment, so he has free reign to just pick at the angles that he wants.
Yes, indeed, but the Doomfist could be there any moment, so you gotta pick and pick quick. As the Amplification Matrix comes out, the Callum on that Doomfist, or Clam rather, is going to go up with the Meteor Strike, goes down onto the Lucio. The beat dedicated, interestingly enough, just for that. Foster is able to get the pick on the Clam, which is interesting, and Ethot uses the Coalescence there, gets no value out of it. As the Blizzard comes through, Diamondtron goes down. Supercharger dedicated, but it's just in the middle of a Blizzard, so it's not going to get any value. Meanwhile, Ethot on the Moira just kind of stuck out, looking in, gets the last minute touch, but almost equal percents finally flips back over to the side of Tokyo.
Little micro mistakes. Andal dropping the supercharger there at the end puts him down an ultimate, and there wasn't really much of a possibility for him to use it even in the most forgiving of scenarios we could have come up with there. Method taken out pretty quickly. They might just opt for the reset here. Yeah, and hitting an ultimate out. Be surprised if Dimitrodon keeps pushing into that.
I mean, yep, it is interesting how it was used just kind of pretty much as a zoning tool. But looking at his next fight, I mean, ultimates aren't really there.
Maywall's good. Charge is better.
Oh, yep, the charge goes down onto Ondo. Arisa taken down, as well as Diamondtron. It just pick after pick. As we're nearing 90%, it looks like it's going to have to be stall heroes. Ethot, I think, is back at the spawn, actually. I don't think anyone's going to make it back to touch. Oh, the Hammond trying to roll through.
Nope.
Ondo does get the touch at the very last second at the 12th, 13th, possibly even 14th hour. Gets the touch. And the Reinhardt charge from downtown, given the immortality. Krev gets the kill onto Foster. Widowmakers are traded, but Clam is down. The Nano Boost is now dedicated to Dime. Dime swinging like a madman is able to take down Saber. The Reinhardt coming alive here for his team is able to finally get the kills and able to flip despite all odds.
Dimitrodon, the piece of German armor running through the middle of the fight, cleaning it up for his team. They are in this still. 55%, however, there's 1 to 2 fights left that they need to take, and the enemy team is building up quite the ultimate bank here. They have the Blizzard, which they still have yet to win a single fight against, and they don't have any ultimates to use against it. They're not in a good spot right now. They may have made it through that one challenge, but this is going to be a much bigger one.
I think the biggest challenge is, or your biggest fear is going to be Krev on the Widowmaker, but the Blizzard comes through and it's respected. There's no, everybody gives space, but Diamondtron forced out as well as Clam, both killed. Ondale does get the pick on the Foster, so Krev can kind of run uncontested. As I say that though, Kieser on the Lucio decides to go end the Widowmaker before anything can start. The Ana now being forced to try to touch the point, but killed before it can happen. Ondale on this Wrecking Ball being forced to stall as long as they can, and now Clam's turn to just kind of jump in. The Seismic Slam not really connecting with anybody as he runs in. Clam taken down, but it's just stall after stall. The Shatter comes through, doesn't really find anything, but it doesn't need to find anything. It gets Dime, and now we have Krev on the Widowmaker stalling out, but Anthemis on the Baptiste shuts it down, and we do have match point coming up here for the side of Tokyo Foxes.
Yep. And what's going to be the next map? Wells next map. Okay. So, Boop heavy map. We're going to see how cheesy Tokyo Teto can get. They look like they're going to be running the Fair Mercy. Of course, has a lot of Boop potential, so does the Orisa. But on the opposite side, we have the Lucio and we have the Wrecking Ball. So both teams really fielding 2 Boop characters here. I feel like Teto Foxes have a more inherent, or at least obvious synergy between some of their characters than we see on Goblinos at the moment, though.
Yes, indeed. And with the composition we're running out on, it's going to be interesting, as you were saying, just see what comes through. I feel like Krev is not going to be able to find much value on the McCree, especially when there's a Widowmaker to deal with on the other side, as well as a Pharah that you're going to have to try to shoot down. As I say that, though, Lammy dropped dangerously low by the Pharah. Rockets just raining in. Krev trying to answer back, but Foster goes on the off angle, manages to pick him off while he's looking the wrong way. Foster just kind of set up on this lighthouse. No real contest or anything to stop him. As a Immortality Field goes down for Lammy, and it's just kind of a stall out here on the point. Both teams just kind of staring at each other, waiting for the pick to come through. Until almost halted in. The very nice edge as Amplification Matrix coming in for Lammy, possibly trying to turn this fight around. But the shield is literally placed directly in front of it, so it gets little to no value until that shield is destroyed. And Pharah boops Ondo in after Ethot was taken down as well. Dime is trying to charge in on the Reinhardt, is taken down. Saber getting that kill. Keyser cleaning up onto Lemmy, and now the Mei is just stalling. No team is capped yet, and it just seems to be a stall out as Keyser finishing everything off on the Moira, and it is going to be first cap coming through for Tokyo.
And going to this next fight, the ultimate economy favors... I'm going to say it favors Teto, but I do see Clayum on the Mei with that Blizzard, and Teto is doing the same thing that Juice Goblinos have done for so long, and now running defensive ultimate. Divine taken out. This might just be over already, though.
Yes, indeed. That wall just kind of got Saber caught, and then the Widowmaker was able to get the kill. Getty jumping off the map, whether intentionally or not, is yet to be seen. And Anthemis and Foster both go down. As we see, it looks like Juice Goblinos are going to roll over here. Flip the point back over at 29%.
That was a far less exciting cap than I thought it was going to be, looking at those ultimate banks. But now we're going into another fight. The ultimate banks are just about evening out, with just a flux behind on the side of Juice Goblinos, but they have that Blizzard, which is also impactful, and it's going to be up to Divine to try and counter it.
Yes, indeed. If there can be an Eat potentially come through, Foster gets the pick onto Ethot and uses the sights. So many ultimates are being dedicated here. Barrage gets no value. The Blizzard is given value. The Mercy is just frozen in the sky, and pick after pick, the Blizzard is able to get them all of that, as well as the Orisa Supercharger. And you did dedicate a lot there, but you're holding through 40% for Juice Goblinos.
You have a ding down May. No taxi. Kaiser immediately swapping to Lucio. They're looking to capitalize on this right here and now. And Crab trying to pop sides to slow him down, but I don't think they're going to opt to slow down. They're going at full speed right now.
Yes, indeed, because you just want to go in while you have the advantage. The Doomfist going in, getting the Widowmaker, and then all of a sudden the Gravitic Flux being used, Immortality Field saving everybody, but Keyser boops Orisa into the hole, or rather just kind of a boop was the final blow. Seems like there's a little bit of a stall out coming here for the Lucio, just to try to incur more percentage, get up past that lovely 60%, and they are at 71 now as it flips over.
Yeah, not quite the critical number you would be looking for. The opponents still have the opportunity to get one lost fight here at least, I mean, to say, and can come back to recover from this, but they're squaring up once again to the choke.
Yes, indeed. The Hulk comes through. Pretty much half the team just stuck there. Clam, once again, on this Doomfist, is able to pick off Baptiste. That's a lot of healing down. There's nothing really to keep anybody else alive. Foster taking down the Immortality Field, so that's a tool gone for Juice Goblinos. And now it's just both sides kind of looking for that pick. Krev takes down Foster, but Divine takes down Ethot, and he's immediately traded out, so there's no healers left for the side of Tokyo. They're still contesting this point as long as they can. However, Dimetron and Lammy get 2 more picks onto both the tanks, and it looks like it's going to be another flip. These teams are just back and forth, percent for percent, literally coming down to the wire, and it looks like we're going to be entering final fight.
Yeah, and we have Foster on the traces. There's no worry about their ability to touch here, and Divine, of course, is going to have Meteor Strike, which gives them the opportunity to engage pretty deep, but Dime has... There's so many ultimates, actually, on Juice Goblinos. This looks like it's really heavily in their favor.
Yes, indeed. Well, let's see if it stays that way as the Widowmaker's taking shots. The Gravitic Flux committed. Boosts everybody into the Widow sightlines. Saber is taken down. Both Immortality Fields traded out. Overtime is finally triggered here. The beat is given. Divine is able to take down Lamby, but not after the Baptiste straight on the other side. But Foster finds Kriv. That is a crucial pick. The Supercharger now out for Ondo because there are no damage abilities. He has to B1 himself with that Supercharger. As Foster is able to take down Dimetron, the Meteor Strike comes down, not finding anything. Hammond is booped into the well. He's holding on for dear life. The Gravitic Flux coming out. It does not seem to find anything, but it helps him get the follow-up kill onto Clam. Foster kills Ondel as Saber is finally willing to drop into the well, but in the last second, the clutch kills come in for the side of Tokyo, and we're going to be looking at one more last fight unless this, I mean, Juice Goblinos have to win this just to force the final round of Ilios.
Match point. Tokyo Teto Fox is sitting on the verge of victory right now. They have to either win this fight, and they have the amplification matrix to do this, and there's no ultimates to counter it.
Yes, indeed. As we're finding the stall here, but Foster gets the first pick on the Lammy. That's a huge amount of healing down. The amplification matrix is out for Anthemus. Just raining damage. Those shields are down, but Saber is able to take down Clam in the back line. There's no picks coming through. Lammy now forced to switch to the Moira just to try to get back. Lucio looking for a boop. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. Kreb is able to take down Foster in the back line. However, the Meteor Strike going up, back down onto Ondel. Ondel is dropping incredibly low. Ace finally picked off both tanks. Gone. It's Lammy. It's the supports and DPS left alive. Kreb finding the pick that could start this fight to turn around, but Lammy is going to be booped into that well, but Ethon boops Saber into the well. It's just back and forth. These teams are so evenly matched right now. The beat drop given to keep everybody alive as Clam gets the kill onto Divine. Dimetron is able to get another kill onto Anthemus, and it looks like they're going to be able to flip this one back in the 12th hour. It's still possible that Ondel jumping in kills Keezer.
No, it's over.
With the impact, both tanks are back in now for the side of Tokyo. However, it's just so long a Winston can last there. And unfortunately, it's stall after stall. The Doomfist coming in, no pick from that punch. They're coming in. It's literally just touch after touch. Foster taken down. The overtime wick is going to burn so quickly. Lucio is the only one there. Keezer trying to hold on, but unfortunately, there's only so much you can do. And one more round to decide it all. This was the night I was supposed to go do stuff, but here we are. 5 maps. Extended overtime fights and one more round of Ilios to decide it all between Juice Goblinos and the Tokyo Teto Foxes.
No rhyme or reason to that. Down to losing Baptiste at the start of the fight, going in, making the second pick, also being on their lineup, and going from a 4-6 deficit into a win just by taking enough time off the clock and managing in the boops. So every little clutch play mattered there. That's what I'd call a miracle.
I mean, pick potential once you're in those final fights. That's pretty much what it comes down to. And now we're seeing a Symmetra in play here on the Lighthouse.
Back to the roots. Of course, this is Crab's first time on the Symmetra, actually.
Yes, indeed, as the Maywall comes in. But anybody who goes into that point is going to be dealing with a lot of Symmetra turrets. Immortality Field already used, but the turrets are still in existence as Foster is taken down by Ondel there. It's not the pick you want to see, especially with the fact that Symmetra has such heavy control at this point already. And they are going to be able to take first cap here, which means that percentage is already incurring while they're in this kind of stagger fight still. Meanwhile, Anthemus is starting this off with the Amplification Matrix already in play and being used. The Mortality Field dedicated, already taken down. The Reinhardt charging is booted into a wall, so he's not taken off the map, but Krev takes down Anthemus, so now there's not a lot of healing, and the Symmetra wall just to kind of to mess with anything, any sort of chance that was thought to be had for the side of Tokyo is gone as we are going to reset.
And of course, the point was slipped during that fight, so we're already at 30%. It's likely that even if Teto Foxes win this, that's going to be in the 70% already, so it's a dangerous position to be in. And Kaiser, 90% to be prepared to counter whatever comes out of the opponents, but there's both a potential halt Meteor Strike as well as a Earth Shatter for him to worry about.
Yes, indeed. And meanwhile, the Blizzard is committed early, but the Doomfist going into the backline Clam, seeing if he can find any picks. Anthemus being the first one to answer, though. Keezer is able to be defeated by the Doomfist there as beat drop comes out from Ethot. The Meteor Strike goes up. What goes up must come down. Comes down, doesn't get a lot of value, and instead gets picked off by Saber. But Krev is being the hero on this Symmetra, melting everything in his fight. face, and
That's
with the supercharger, we're looking at 70+%. We could be closing in on the final fight, the actual final fight.
not only that, but this is the first time that Teto Foxes has lost a fight while committing Blizzard to it. This is one of 2 fights that was lost committing Blizzard, and one of them was when Blizzard was committed against another Blizzard. So that's pretty impressive right there.
Yes, indeed, as Supercharger is going to be committed early, but Infamous is already down! We're already above 90%! This is disaster for the side of Tokyo! Keezer is able to get the pick, though! The picks are coming through left, right, and center. Longevity takes down Callum in this fight, but Lammy trying to do stuff with his Coalescence isn't going to do anything. The Shadow comes through, it doesn't find a whole lot, but Diamondtron is able to just swing, take down both tanks. There's only 2 members left. It's the Lucio and the May against the world. As Lucio goes down, the May is down! It looks like after all this stuff, 5 Juice Goblino C9ing a map and throwing it away just to win it all in the end. Absolutely insane match from these 2 teams.
God. Teto Foxes, my heart goes out to you. So close. The previous map being up, having it in the bag, and somehow coming back and then getting 99-0 on this map. Of all maps. It was such a good series.
It was a phenomenal series from both these teams. And this was the quarterfinal, mind you. So hopefully the games are only going to get better from here. Both these teams showing that they can go the distance, fight the fight. I mean, quite literally, we had that round of Ilios go tick for tack, percent for percent, back and forth. Neither team has anything to be ashamed of here.
Yeah, it was really close.
Hopefully y'all in the chat are blowing it up, whether you wanted Foxes to win or you're happy that Juice Goblinos will be moving on to the semis here. We do have to, obviously. So, fun little fact, Juice Goblinos are now seeded into the semifinals against YMC9. So, the number 10 seed versus the number 11. So, it's an interesting little prospect for you to contemplate there. But we do have to award a player of the match. And Heathen, who do you think it goes to today?
God. I might say Clam. Clam had a lot of fights where it was just kind of, we saw just him popping up in the kill feed, especially on Doomfist. The hesitant part about this is first map, Lijiang Tower, he was dead a couple of times, but he managed to turn that into a tactical feed, roundabout master flank sort of deal each time that it managed to happen. I think this player played really well. I think that he showed up in a lot of the fights today, and it would have probably been an entirely different game if he wasn't there.
I mean, obviously, pretty much any of the 12, 13 some odd players we've seen in this lobby. Actually, I take that back. Unfortunately, J-Dash, your internet does not get you player of the match. But anybody else could have been it. But me personally, I have to give it to Krev. Even when it wasn't looking good for Juice Goblinos, those maps they did drop, the hit scan was always there. The picks were always coming through. Absolutely insane. And that's the type of play that you need right now. You need those clutch performances that'll get you those very clutch last-second wins.
But of course, I want to reiterate a point that you brought up, that this is a really close decision for me. A lot of players contributed a lot today, and everybody showed up, played their heart out, and I'm not ashamed of any of the players in this lobby today. It was an absolutely wonderful performance.
Yes, indeed. As the chat is going wild, realizing that, as Alex Yoshi is saying, there's going to be a number 10 seed or a number 11 seed in the finals, guaranteed. I mean, you run the gauntlet once you're in those lower brackets. You climb up. You start with the round of 12, and you go from there. But while this has been exciting and fun, I think that is going to wrap it up here for us at the Rose Cup tonight. Hopefully you did enjoy. If you're new here, make sure to drop that follow. And if you're feeling up to it and you think you're really enjoying it, hit that subscribe button. It helps go a long way towards everything we're doing here at the Rose Cup. Obviously, join the Discord if you're looking to play or join as well, or just to even discuss some of the matches with some of the players or even just people in the community. It's a really phenomenal community here on this lovely, lovely game we call Overwatch. But I have been Megalad,
And
Wait.
I've been Heathen.
and we will see you next time.